Welcome to the Dojotalkpodcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Sam Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. We're on episode number 93. I am your host, Serial Sensei, and I'm going to babble off a long intro to get off some plugs and announcements real quick just before we get started. So as always, this podcast can be listened to on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, please rate and subscribe. Shout outs to Phil, the MMA dude, on Twitter. He gave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Appreciate that, my good sir. So don't be like Phil. Give us reviews. We need them. They help a lot. So shout outs to him. Definitely appreciate it. You can also listen to us on Google Play. You can hit us up on Facebook at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page. And you can follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei. Quick announcement. I put out the last, I didn't even number it a podcast episode, but the last episode I put out on the SoundCloud page, just addressing some minor changes that'll be happening for this podcast. So music reviews from this point on will not be on SoundCloud. I'm starting a new YouTube channel. The channel is technically already created, like that. The page is there, but there's no video yet because I have not made the first video because I have yet to. I'm trying to make it good production value. So I got a logo done, but I need to create an intro for the show because I just enjoy making intros for shows. It's fun to me. Don't judge me, but I like doing it. But I haven't figured out an intro for this show yet. But the channel will be called Sounds Like Fun. I get it. Terrible play on words in regards to music, but that's what it is, so deal with it. But the channel will be called Sounds Like Fun. That's why I will be doing music reviews from this point forward, which I have to play catch up with because I haven't reviewed an album since like Nas came out. So I know I'm pretty behind, but this channel will be good. I'll be able to pump out reviews faster because I'm just going to do them one at a time. There's going to be quick videos, maybe about 10, 11 minutes tops. Get you in, get you out. But I will let you guys know when the channel is actually like up and running with content. I'm hoping to complete an intro this weekend and then maybe have the first video uploaded by hopefully like the middle of next week, possibly. But we'll see. So just had to get that off, let you guys know what's going on. So, but other than that, man, we got another episode going on. Once again, I'm joined with my co-host Cool. What's going on, man?
I just want to put it out there, just so everybody knows. Cocaine is a performance-enhancing drug. So when you come to me with coked up John Jones beat up DC, basically what you're saying is a man with superpowers beat up DC.
Oh man, yeah. Last night. It was...
I'm gonna just throw that out there before we get to to properly celebrating the daddest man alive.
Oh man,
Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, it's a lot. This is gonna be a fun episode because last night was. You know what? Well, I'll see until we get to the car. See, we got to get through other little news and stuff. Well, I'll just say this real quick. I think last night was the first time in a while, and maybe it was just me. Maybe I don't know if I was just like excited. I felt like this car didn't drag a lot.
Yeah, it was
like,
good.
I was looking at the clock, and I mean it was kind of late, but I wasn't like dead tired just waiting for this card to be over. Even after that co-main event, which we'll get into, but like I felt pretty good when the night was over. And I woke up this morning, I was like, I felt refreshed. I rewatched the fights, and I didn't feel bad. There wasn't like any fight. Well, all right, there was one fight I didn't rewatch, and you guys know which one I'm talking about without him saying it. But yeah, man, good job on this card. It was a really good card, and it didn't tire me to death. It didn't bore me to death.
I'm gonna throw a little counterpoint. Why did it take 20 minutes to get to the first fight on the main card?
Oh,
What?
hold on. Who? Oh yeah, because the prelim headliner was the Uriah Hall, I think.
Augusta. Yeah, but like
Yeah.
the first, like they didn't start walking out to the cage until about like 10:18.
Nah.
Which once the fights got going, they got going, and they went right. It was right after another. But before that, it was just like, why am I waiting 20 minutes? Or I guess they were just waiting for all the buys to come in. I don't know.
Possibly. I don't know. But either way, that was one of the few cards I can say this year. This is one of the best pace cards in a while. At least it felt like it. But before we get off on UFC 226, because there will be a lot to talk about. We got to go through some few bits of news and fights that have been announced since the last time we recorded. And we'll briefly touch on Tough 27 and Bellator 201, just kind of like main things that happened from those cards, not going too much in detail. But quick news as far as fight announcements and other happenings that have been going on in the MMA world. So I'm just going to run. Oh.
No.
Oh, I thought that was you. It's cool. So I'm just going to run down this list real quick. So, top, I guess the biggest news, Kelvin Gastelum, Robert Whittaker, is all but pretty much confirmed for a Tough 28. That was interesting. I was wondering if Weidman was going to get the shot, but I'm not mad at this at all. I actually think this is a pretty interesting matchup. And to be honest, I would rather see this over Whittaker and Weidman because I think Whittaker gives Weidman the business. That's just my opinion.
Whittaker's going to get everybody in that division the business.
Yeah.
Except Yoel Romero, who, will just be competitive with him till the end of time because he doesn't age.
Right. But that's. I think this is still going to be a pretty awesome fight. I'm looking forward to that. Other notes, Korean
Tough 28 will be the season of heavyweights and women's featherweight. So look forward to that.
That will either be great or terrible. Hey man, if we can at least between heavyweight and women's featherweight, if we can just get like two people that are worth of note, maybe it'll be worth it.
High bar. That's a really high bar.
If we can get two. And then they don't even need to be world beaters. Just give me two people that I can be like, you know what? I'm going to keep an eye on you. Like, you might be somebody.
Just have Rashad Coulter fight everybody that like the heavyweight side. Guarantee fun fights. And then maybe I'll care.
Oh, man. That featherweight might be rough. That's...
I'm hoping. What's her name? Gisette Cotton. She's on the show. She's like on the show, but she's Josette. There we go. The #1 headbuster, Cotton.
I have to look her up. But yeah, keep an eye out for Tough 28.
Like real quick. Is the UFC just kind of getting ridiculous with these numbers? Like, I mean, we just said UFC 226. It's just really weird, right? Like, are we eventually going to get to UFC like 956? Is that where we're going?
Oh man,
tough season like 35.
No, tough can't even make it to 30. We got to stop.
We said that after
I feel like
Tough 10, and we're still here.
Heavyweight and women's featherweight. This needs to be the season finale. not season finale, like the show finale. We gotta close the curtains after this, because I imagine, I want to be optimistic, but I imagine this season or that season will not go too well, and we should just see the last of tough. Just stick with the Contender Series, man. I think that format works so much better. We don't need tough. We don't need tough, but we'll see. But other notes, Korean Zombie is apparently healthy again. He wants to fight Frankie Edgar. I'm all for it. No arguments over here. For UFC Fight Night 134, Davey Grant versus Manny Bermudez. I'm about to butcher both these names. Nad Narimani versus Khalid Taha, also on 134. Brad Pickett retired for what? Was it a year maybe? A couple months?
Retired in like October? November? Something like that.
So his short retirement has ended. He's returning, fighting Jesse Brock at ACB 91.
March, God.
No. So he took a mini hiatus. So he'll be back.
So
Anthony
all these
Smith.
other fighters are retired.
Right. Trying to think who retires better, fighters or rappers?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, I think it's fighters because they stopped getting booked. Like rappers now, they can just throw shit up on Spotify.
Yeah, that is true. Nobody can really stop
Like
you
Young
from retiring.
Bug got an
right?
album coming out with Dr. Dre. Right?
Moving on. Anthony Smith and Shogun Hua will be headlining UFC 134. Should be a pretty interesting fight.
Can you tell the people why this is happening?
Who
We
knows?
know why. Because Volkanovski can't leave the United States. Because they tried to pull this shit in Brazil? Was it? Where they tried to make him versus Shogun?
Yeah, and they shut that down.
Because he's not allowed to leave the United States. Because he has a pending assault charge, from 3 weeks before he fought for the title.
I mean, but it works out because he gets to fight. Well, I guess that's cemented.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Him and Gus. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, that's fun either way. The best of a bad situation.
I just feel bad. I just feel bad for
call
the Swiss fan who's like, oh, they're having a UFC card in Germany, and the first Swiss fighter to ever fight for a title is gonna be on the main event, fighting my favorite Brazilian ever. And then they go and they buy the ticket, and now they're like, oh, you have Anthony Smith. Deal with it. Deal with it.
The Smith and Shogun fight scares me because keep in mind, people, man, if Shogun beats Smith, that's a 4-fight win streak, and at light heavyweight, that equals like a 20-fight win streak
for 10 years.
Right.
You're basically Fedor.
Shogun might fight for a title, if not in 2018, like early 2019. That could be a thing.
It just depends on whether DC gets the Brock Lesnar fight, which we'll get to.
Other news over in Bellator, Winston Duke. For people who don't know, this is the gentleman who played M'Baku and Black Panther. He will be playing Kimbo in an upcoming biopic that, as of now, is titled Backyard Legend. So that will be a thing. But shout out to Winston Duke. If anything, that's pretty much an on-spot guy, I would think, to play Kimbo, just in terms of look and build. I'm cautiously optimistic that this will turn out somewhat decent.
Question.
Hopefully.
Are they going to document Kimbo being a bouncer or a security guard on porn shooting sites? You have to post this. You have to go through because he wasn't a YouTube star first. He was a porn site star first because all his fights got posted to porn sites.
I mean, that's like movie gold. That's I'm not gonna say that should be the opening scene, but It should be the
It's
opposite.
just Kimbo watching two people fuck up.
Oh man, that's gonna be an
There's
interesting
gonna be a
movie.
lot
But
of creative liberties taken with that movie.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just hoping Baby Slice and the family get a nice cut.
Yeah, and yeah. In all seriousness, like I hope this does turn out to be something good. Like, I know people felt how they felt about Kimbo, but
And if you
I
didn't
always,
like Kimbo, you were a bad person. I'm sorry.
yeah, like I just looked at Kimbo like, listen, man, he had an opportunity and he took it and he rode the wave literally until it ended. And I don't know how you can be mad
Dude
at
put
that.
his freaking kid through school.
Yeah.
Just fighting and like he had no business fighting in the UFC and no business fighting on TV, but he did. He
He
brought
made
his
it happen.
street level beef with Dada 5000 to the masses.
Did some pretty good numbers.
Like DJ Academics wishes he could do that.
Hey man, Kimbo. Yeah, I hope that movie turns out good though. So we'll keep an eye on that. Also at UFC 227, Brett Johns will be taking on Pedro Munoz. UFC Fight Night 135, Michael Johnson will be taking on Andre Fili. I don't have the card for this fight, but James Vick will be taking on Justin Gaethje. Um, Paul Daly, this isn't official, but he's accepted a call out from Joe Schilling, so assuming at some point down the line that will be a thing. Other news, well,
Winston Duke or friggin' him. Oh my god, he's gonna say baby nuts.
so I'm assuming they're gonna cover Kimball's fight career, so they have to cover at least one of his professional fights. So if we're picking one fight to cover, which fight are we covering? And who's playing the person that he's
Oh my
fighting?
god. Like, are they gonna do the Seth Petrozelli fight? Or the Houston Alexander fight? Or him getting beat up on tough?
Ah, you got to do the Houston Alexander fight.
Oh my, it's just him there. Like, how are they gonna romanticize that? They're gonna make it an all-out war, and then have like the iconic scene of just both of them like hands on their knees, exhausted.
True. Houston Alexander can still play Houston Alexander. Oh man,
I hope they get Seth Petrozelli.
that'll be a good one. Yeah, you know what? You have to
all
have
the
that
guys
because
who
you have
actually beat Kimbo.
you have to have conflict. So you have to have that
And
fight.
then you can go do his like 7 pro boxing fights that he just did in like a gymnasium in Miami.
Oh man, I forgot about those.
Kimbo was an
Yeah.
active fighter when Bellator pulled him back to TV.
Oh man, God. Yeah, I can't wait to see who's. I'm interested to see who's directing this movie. I'm really really interested to see how that
Speaking
turns
of Kimbo Slice, it's very unfortunate that he passed when he did. Because if he had survived another couple of years, we might have gotten Kimbo Slice versus Chuck Liddell.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to that in a quick second. The only other news I had before we get to that, Andre Pederneiras is stepping down as head coach of Nova União, but it's not what you think. What's the other place he's going to?
Well,
Upper Arena
is the so like we've all seen like footage of like Renan Barao and Jose Aldo training in that little white room, like just like where they're all like all the Nova União fighters are like piled on top of each other. Like even TJ Dillashaw pointed out after he beat Renan Barao, like it's a really small room that doesn't fit being a world class pro fighter. So what Upper Arena is I guess Pederneiras realized that this was having your gym above like I think they were above a laundromat or something for like years, but what he did is he built this arena where they host Shooto Brazil, but it's also a gym for like the Nova União fighters. So what he's going to do is he's going to open up Upper Arena so that fighters that want to pay him to come and train there and like get advice from him can, I guess, go there. So like, there's no, I'm not sure if like Novi now is still a thing, or like who's in charge of it now or whatever. But like, if you're a pro fighter and you want to go train at Upper Arena, and slide Andre Pedneris a little cash for some advice while he's there, like that's the new setup, I think. So all Upper Arena is basically Novinya's new training ground.
Yeah. So he'll be operating that. So he's still in the
He's still
game.
promoting for Shooter Brazil apparently. So he's gonna be around for a while.
Yeah. So be on we'll see maybe if he spawn some new talent from that. Last bit of news. Jesus Christ. I can't even complain about this because I'm already on record being an advocate for this fight. Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz 3.
The magic is back, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Under what was it gonna be, under Golden Boy MMA?
Sure.
Something like that. I think.
Like there's so many levels to this fight that are just straight out stupid. Like the fact that it's under Golden Boy MMA. The fact that Chuck Liddell's coming back, period. I don't even know if you saw this. Did you see Tito's like financial setup?
No.
So, Tito Ortiz is going the full Sergey Kovalev 2, Andre Ward 2 route, where he's not taking any money, like a purse. All his payment is going to be his pay-per-view revenue and live gate. So if this pay-per-view bombs,
he makes
nothing.
Rightfully so. Because none of us should be entertaining this foolery, myself included.
But we will, because it's amazing. Because
that's the nature of the I don't know if you guys saw, but there's some footage out there. Liddell hitting those pads. And
one of these men have a cracked skull that's being held together by like crazy glue and staples, and somehow he's the healthier fighter here.
Oh boy, this fight. I'm gonna feel terrible about myself after this fight is over.
That clip of like Liddell hitting the pads, man. Like Liddell was never the most like fluid dude.
But
there he has like the fluidity of like a cement block. Like,
yeah,
he's straight up on like grandpa.
Like those leg kicks were a struggle. Like he had to use all of his willpower to get that leg just like 2 inches off the ground. It was, whew. But that's gonna be a thing, and I'm in too deep. I've talked too much about the fight, so I'm kind of invested. So I will be watching because I just enjoy train wrecks, and this might be the biggest one.
Very poorly.
Yeah, this the sport might get banned after this. We're gonna go. This is gonna send us back. Yeah. We might go back to the dark ages after this.
This is what happens when people don't get attached to new fighters. The old ones stick.
Yeah, for way too long, way past their welcome. That's because of people like me. I laugh and joke about this until one of them doesn't wake back up.
I want to make a joke, but I'm not going to get on there.
We'll leave that be. But yeah, Chuck Tito 3. That's gonna be a thing. So real quick before we get in UFC 226, two other cards we'll briefly just talk about real quick. We want to start with Bellator or the tough finale?
Bellator.
All right. So Bellator 201, this actually went down June 29th, headlined by ilima-lei McFarlane and Alejandro Lara. I'll be honest. I watched this card, but I only watched it once, and I don't remember a ton of what happened on this card. I guess we'll just start with the main event. Ilima-lei McFarland defended her title. Is this the first defense? Okay, yep. Against Alejandra Lara. I just remember McFarland. It's ground game, pretty much.
It's basically it.
Yeah, it's kind of how this fight went. Like she gets you on the ground, and it's not a good time, pretty much. I don't remember, was it first round, second? She got a no, third round armbar. So she moves to 8-0. Yeah, I want to see her stand up just get a bit better. I think it leaves a little. It's not terrible, but it's it's not great at the same time. But either way, like when she gets you on the ground, it's good luck to you. So she moves on to 8-0. Either way, good performance from her. Very, very, very solid 125er.
Like I think what Bellator is doing with their 125 division. I kind of hope they have some more talent coming up the pipe because I know they have Valerie Returnal is probably going to be next for the title, but I couldn't tell you who would be after that.
Yeah.
But I'm a ilima-lei McFarland fan. Like she's fun to watch. She's a good person. Like if you're tired of all like the negative headlines you see in MMA, like go follow ilima-lei McFarland. She's out here putting indigenous women through Central and like the Central America and the South Pacific to school. So yeah, sucks for Alejandra Lara. Especially sucks because I think this came either a couple days before or a couple days after Colombia lost in the World Cup. Oof. So not only did they lose their first major like MMA like title challenge, they're also the team that let Britain beat them to get back to the semifinals. So or whatever round it was.
Tough times.
If you're Colombian, they're all tough times.
But shout out to McFarland though, really good performance. 8-0. Yeah, like you said, I'm pretty sure her and Letourneau, which we'll get to in a second, will probably be next. Just other notable fights that happened on here that I kind of somewhat remember. Sadawad beat the brakes off of Ryan Couture.
I feel like keep Ryan Couture around just to like let him get beat up because he's Randy's kid.
Yeah, he's
like,
out here getting
secretly hates Randy Couture, is like getting revenge to Ryan.
Yeah, he's out here getting paddled, man. But good on the wad. He's still out here laying waste to people.
Dude's been out here for a minute, right? Like he's a Bellator OG.
Yeah, I think he should be not too far from a title fight. I feel like should be a pro. I don't think he did. Pretty sure he was. Oh Lord. Okay. All right. Well,
he's on a 4-fight win streak. If Michael Chandler isn't sticking around, I say why not?
Yeah, I think he's earned that spot. As we mentioned earlier, Valerie Letourneau fought Christina Williams. This was actually a really fun fight. It's very violent, just lots of violence back and forth between those two. But Letourneau came out the victor, so yeah, one would assume she's probably next in line to fight McFarland. I don't remember much else from this card.
Juan Archuleta.
Oh yeah.
Bullied Peralta for 2 rounds and proceeded to just knock his head clean off.
Yeah. With a very nice the setup to the KO punch was pretty awesome.
Like the tap the front knee, come over the top with the overhand.
Top. He just blasted him, and yeah, he sent Peralta to another planet. I guess the only other things of note, I didn't watch any of these other fights, but I'll just mention them. Carrie Ann Taylor Melendez, wife of Giblert Melendez, as Reebok affectionately calls him, got a submission rear naked choke over Tiani Vale. Ed Ruth won a TKO over Andy Murad. I didn't watch this fight, but somebody told me he didn't look that great. That's what I heard. Or not that he didn't look great, but like his striking didn't.
It looks like a dude who's been doing it for 2 years. Like, it was a lot more. Murad can't really hit me very hard. He's undersized, and I'm the bigger, more athletic dude, so I'm gonna just like throw ones and twos in chain combos. It wasn't great, but I'm happy Ruth is finding like getting comfortable throwing punches, because that's a big thing. Or else you end up like Kamaru Usman, who just seems like reluctant to throw anything.
Yeah. But he's moving along.
I know Coker was talking about throwing him in that welterweight tournament, but I'm like, you might want to pump the brakes on that.
Yeah. I don't think I don't know if he's ready. But I think he's somebody that can keep bringing along.
Maybe he can out wrestle dudes, but I don't think he can beat everybody. So, and that's the type of dude you want to be able to beat everybody, because he's going to be the face of your promotion.
Yeah. But either way, good on him. He still got the W either way. Joey Davis, got a stoppage. Joey Davis, well, I think he's like one of their prospects too. I feel like
NCAA Division II wrestler. He's the one who's always throwing like the spinning back kicks and stuff. Yeah. So the dude's super talented. Trains out of the same gym as AJ McKee Jr.
Decision win. I think I did watch this fight. I just don't remember it that much. But I remember like he's got a lot of raw talent. He just needs to, just cultivate it. Yeah. He looks like somebody who can definitely go places. And Tyrell Fortune got a TKO over Giovanni Serran.
It was exactly like you think a heavyweight wrestler beating up a smaller, weaker, but game heavyweight would look like. So.
Well, yeah. Oh, real quick. Before we get to Tough 27, something else I wanted to mention real quick. PFL 3 went down Thursday. I did not get a chance to watch a lot of this card like I did the other ones, but Ray Cooper the third. That card was headlined by Ray Cooper the third and Jake Shields. Ray Cooper beat the bricks off of Jake Shields. It was pretty wild to watch. Like, and for people who don't know the backstory, like Jake Shields fought Ray Cooper's dad was like 14 years ago or something like that. Which lets you know how long Jake Shields has been out here just grappling people to death. Excuse me. So yeah, he fought Ray Cooper's dad like 14 years ago, and in 2018, the son came back with a vengeance, and he laid waste to Jake Shields, man. It was pretty impressive. Like I get it, like Jake Shields is older, he's his best days are definitely behind him, but he's still Jake Shields, and there haven't been many people who have like completely washed him like that. Like he got white, like he face planted. Ray Cooper face planted this man. So big shout outs to him, man. That's a big win over a legend in the sport, and you get to avenge your dad, and you face planted him. Like he just won on so many. He just won in every way. Like he just that had to have felt. I can't even imagine how good that must have felt. So yeah, shout out to him.
I figured Jake Shields wasn't going to win this welterweight tournament, but I figured there was only two ways it could happen. One is like what happened: Ray Cooper knocked him out, or two, he would make it all the way to the finals and then get knocked out in like 3 seconds.
Right.
but he got the L out way early, so.
Yep, tournament will move on without him.
It's not like it's a round robin tournament, right? Like they all have to fight each other, and then the ones with the most points move on to like the next round.
Yeah, something like that. I still don't completely understand how that formats work, but I know like you get a certain amount of points for finishes, certain amount for decision,
Right.
some. So I don't know what I'd imagine. You don't get points for getting your, I don't think you get points for
I
face
think you
planting.
could lose points for face
Oh.
planting.
Yeah. So I don't know how that works, but either way, man, Ray Cooper the third, he's out here. And then real quick, we'll transition over to and Will Brooks got a win. Was that the
I
same
think it was
card?
like before.
Okay. Don't worry about that then. But he did get a win. But and we'll transition real quick to Tough 27 before we get to UFC 226, because these both happened like right a day apart from each other. Before we get to the main event, just other quick things that happened, because I only watched 3 fights on this card, so I'm just going to mention the fights that I watched. Bruce Leroy got a split decision win over Martin Bravo in a pretty fun fight. Roxanne Modafferi got a pretty good win over Barb Honchak, and that is her first UFC win, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, because she went over.
Yeah. Yep. So that's pretty awesome. Happy for her that she got her first
That was
UFC
a
W.
revenge win.
Right. So that was awesome. But do we care about mentioning the Ultimate Fighter people? I don't.
Shouts to Mike Trezano, trains out Tiger Showman, but yeah, that was a terrible fight from what I heard. So,
But this main event, Israel Adesanya and Brad Tavares. I didn't get a chance to watch this in real time because I had to work early next morning. But I watched this literally the second my alarm went off. I got up, went to an anonymous source to find this fight, and I watched it at like 5 o'clock in the morning when I woke up. Yeah, man, this was I know I was on the record of saying I wasn't too sure if this was too soon, but I guess all that is put to rest. Israel Adesanya is amongst the sharks, and he seems to be swimming pretty well out here. This was, you can't really draw up a better fight. Like I think the only thing he could have did better was get a finish. Like that's the only other thing he could have done. But like other than that, this was a 5-round just really surgical performance from Adesanya. Like he pretty much dictated everything in this fight. Like he dictated range. He fought on his terms. He picked his shots as well as he's always has. He got himself out of bad situations. I think Tavares, he did manage to get him down like once or twice if I remember, and Adesanya he found his way back to his feet. Yeah, man, he picked Brad apart. Like it was really really beautiful to watch this man work.
yeah,
He's here now. Like I don't know what else to say. Like he's here now.
the number 8 doing the division.
Yeah, and there's no turning back. You can't. You don't win a fight like this and then go back to fighting. The Vittori's of the world. No disrespect to him, but
I mean, Vittori could have probably beaten him. That's the messed up part. If he had gotten to his wrestling early.
Yeah, but
Adesanya, like the hand traps to like the elbows over the top, just all the kicks to the body, the knees. Like he would fake the jab and then like immediately as like Tavares would cover up, just hammer one down like in the same step. So it's just like masterful use of just breaking rhythm. I will say, I think I was in the same boat as you. Like I thought this was a step too soon for what you call it, for Adesanya, because I figured Tavares would, because Tavares is not a bad wrestler. He's not a bad grappler. Like I fully expected him to just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go out there, I'm gonna just take him down, and I'm gonna beat him from there. And he didn't do that. He didn't try to do that until like the 3rd or 4th round, and by then he had been, bloodied up and eating every kick to the body that Adesanya threw at him. I was just too tired to even try. It all felt like half-hearted and desperate. So, whatever. Um, but I guess hindsight being 2020, Tavares was like the perfect opponent for Adesanya to get him a top 10 win. Dude fights with like no type of urgency. He's a kickboxer who mostly boxes, and while he's okay at it by MMA standards, Adesanya's kickboxing game transfers over is a whole lot better than Gokhan Saki's does. Just because there's such an emphasis on like, okay, rhythm and pace and managing distance and stuff like that. Like, and I guess we'll get to Saki later, but like, what did Brad Tavares really have on, like strategically that would challenge Adesanya? Like he's been in the UFC for like 10 years, right? Almost 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. He's been around the block a couple
dude
times.
Does not have a second gear. Like if he's getting beat in one area, he's not going to go to do something else. He fights the way he fights. He doesn't turn up the pace. He's not going to pressure Adesanya like Vettori did. He's not going to. Obviously, he's not going to outbox Adesanya. He landed some nice punches, but I think that had more to do with the fact that Adesanya was just. He has really poor timing on the taunting. Like you taunt when you're at distance, not when dude's right in front of you.
Right. I think the only thing I remember Tavares doing that I feel like he landed that right hand a good number of times. But I mean, after a while, it just kind of didn't matter because he was still getting picked apart. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah, on the same note though, like, Adesanya's not Adesanya's whole metagame is the kickboxing metagame, which is when you're ahead, you just coast to stay ahead because you have another fight in like 2 weeks or later tonight or the next day. So like, just preserve the win. So like, it makes sense to me that he didn't get the finish, despite the fact that he was just beating the crap out of Tavares.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what this says about like Adesanya moving forward. Like, could he beat like I think his next benchmark would be like somebody like Derek Brunson, a wrestler with heavy hands who's quick and will actually push a pace, even if it's like it'll be like a reckless pace that even Brunson probably shouldn't be fighting at. So like that's the next step I want to see. Like, if not Brunson, someone in like that same make.
Right.
Who's gonna push Adesanya? Who's gonna put a pace on him and maybe even try to take him down? I'd also be down for him just beating up another like striker if that's the route they're gonna go.
But anything that produces a highlight reel, I'm for it. But yeah, I mean, with a win like Tavares, like you literally can only go up. And
quick question: does Kelvin Gastelum even wrestle anymore? I'm trying to remember the last time I saw him shoot for a takedown.
Nah, he's throwing hands.
Like that's a fact. You got to sign, you could win.
he's just throwing hands. Yeah, man. Adesanya is so dangerous on the feet because you don't know what angle he's gonna come from. You don't know if you're gonna get hit with a punch, a knee, a kick, an elbow. Like, it's so much to worry about. And one thing I like that he does, even though I think that kind of plays into him coasting a bit, like, he's not super reckless. Like, he's very, very patient and like methodical with what he does. So when he throws to hit. He's not just out here winging punches all willy-nilly. So I think there was a moment in that fight where he had Tavares hurt, but he doesn't like rush for finishes. Like, he takes his time.
The finish has to come to him.
Yeah, which, I don't mind. I think sometimes that's a good thing because you don't want to be that guy who's winning the fight 99.9% of the time, and then you get clipped because you rushed in. But at the same time, I want to see him, get some guys out of there. But I think also that got to give Tavares credit. He is just a crazy tough dude. Like, I think some other people wouldn't have lasted that. They wouldn't have went on 5. Not getting picked apart like that. They might have faded. And he somehow found his way in that 5th round and was still trying to make something happen. But yeah, man.
Like twice, and Bosch and Robert Whitaker.
Right. So, Robert Whitaker being the champ, and we've already mentioned Tim Bosch, the toughest dad at the barbecue.
And now that's Daniel Cormier.
Oh yeah,
he's the toughest dad.
Somebody said on Twitter, like, he mans the grill, plays solitaire and spades all at the same time. Oh man. Israel Adesanya, man, this dude, he's something special to watch. I've been meaning to go back because I remember him in Glory, but I don't remember a ton of his fights. I've been meaning to just go back and watch his kickboxing fights because I remember his name. I know I've watched him on a Glory card. I just can't remember like who he fought. But either way, man, this dude is
legitimately one of the top talents in at middleweight in kickboxing. Like, not like I don't know, like Wonder Boy or something, where he has a 16-0 record, but he just fought a bunch of dudes in Georgia.
Yeah, Adesanya, man, this dude, he's something special, man, something special. So congrats to him, awesome performance. Definitely interested to see what direction they take him in next, and in terms of matchmaking. So with that being said, man, we spent a decent amount of time. We covered all what we haven't gotten to cover over these last week or so when we haven't recorded, but time to get to the meat and potatoes of this episode. So I'm waiting for the page to load. But UFC 226 went down in Las Vegas. Shout outs to Stokes, who took his life savings over there, but it looks like he made out pretty good.
I'm gonna say because he got arrested, like trying to confront like TJ Dillashaw in the parking lot.
Stokes, I'm still mad at you that you bet against.
And look how that got you.
Yeah, thinking it lost like $20, but still, $20 you could have kept and could have went to like a meal or something.
That could have bought you a whole bunch of slot machine like goes.
Right. But shout out to Stokes out there in Vegas. He pretty sure this main event paid him out pretty well. So yeah, we'll just get into it, man. Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, heavyweight title on the line. DC coming up from 205. I'm not surprised that DC won because I picked DC to win, but I did not think he was going to sleep him. I envisioned DC winning just by like being able to eventually like outpace Stipe, maybe just grind him out, wear him down. Because we've seen DC can go a hard 5 rounds. So I just thought maybe he would decision him, grind him out. It would be like a really super competitive fight, but DC would just end up smothering him with wrestling, eventually tire him out, and he would win that way. But DC had other plans. He got this done in 1 round. I knew Stipe was in trouble when he the one thing I was really worried about in this fight for DC is I was like, man, he might get slept. Like, if Stipe cracks him one good time, we might see DC hit the Redoom faceplant. DC took a 1-2 from Stipe, and he kept pushing forward, and I was like, oh, Stipe might be in trouble. Because Stipe's not going to out-wrestle him. And the size advantage, if you even want to call it that, I was not worried about at all, because if any of you have watched Stipe during his Strikeforce one at heavyweights, he's always fought dudes that were much bigger than him. A la tossing Josh Barnett on his head, a la beating the crap out of Big Silva back when he was still on TRT and he was murking people. Like, So the size thing just didn't. I didn't even take that into account because I didn't think it would really have much
I mean,
of
if
an
you see the
effect.
dudes he trains with, like the dudes who come to his gym,
Right.
like they're all bigger than him. And the guy
Right.
who actually like is in the gym with him all the time is like Cain Velasquez. Well, not probably recently, but his primary training partner coming up was Cain Velasquez.
Right. Who, aside from Stipe, and if it weren't for injuries, probably the greatest heavyweight ever. But that's another story. Well, yeah, that just made me sad even bringing that up. but point being, he's used to fighting bigger men, so there was no way Stipe was gonna out wrestle him. And I was like, if Stipe's shots aren't hurting him like I thought they would, this might not be good. And he gave DC a 1-2, and DC came right back in his face. And that's I didn't think the finish was gonna come like that, but my God, yeah. When DC started popping back with his shots, I think he caught Stipe with like a nice 1-2 that backed him up a little bit. I don't think these people give DC enough credit for his striking. Like, it's not anything flashy. It's not anything, like crazy creative,
It's
but it
effective.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this dude beat Alexander Gustafsson on the feet. That was a straight up boxing match.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I think they each got one takedown in that fight.
Yeah.
DC is not pretty. He eats probably more than he should, health wise, not like in terms of strategy. Like he's a 39-year-old man.
Yeah.
He probably shouldn't be eating like Stipe Miocic's punches for very long, but it's effective. Like he has good upper body movement. He knows how to put himself in position where he can get to the positions he wants. He knows the sequence that ended up finishing the fight was Cormier threw a jab, grabbed her on the head, got underneath the arm, and then as Stipe went to go pull away, just threw an overhand right that he didn't see coming. Like just caught him clean on the chin and it was over.
That's crazy because DC predicted like that same thing. I don't know if it was the same day or I saw an interview where he literally said that, like, he's like, in camp we noticed that when he pulls away from the clinch, he just leaves his chin up. Like he doesn't protect himself. And that's literally what got him put on the canvas. But it was still wild just seeing like him land that overhand right and Stipe he just flops to the floor.
We should out like how crazy that is in terms of just like Stipe's ridiculous toughness, because Stipe has been knocked out once at heavyweight, despite being in the UFC for like 6-7 years now, and he didn't even really get knocked out. He was just kind of out on his. He wasn't even out on his feet, but he just couldn't defend himself anymore when he fighting Stefan Struve. Like there's a dude who went to war with JDS. There's a dude who got up from being knocked down by Alistair Overeem. Like he
and ate a punch from Ngannou.
Right, a couple of them. Like because Ngannou even tagged him late in the fight, but like. The fact that DC was able to put him out the way he did kind of tells you that, yeah, the dude hits hella freaking hard.
Yeah, like you can make fun of DC. You can say what you want about him. You can bring up the losses to Jones. It doesn't negate the fact that like he's a GOAT. Like he's at the table now. He might have already been, but now he's definitely at the table.
No question.
Like. Yeah, I don't think that's even a question. Like like you said, we've never seen Stipe just get dropped like that. Like just straight drop to the floor, eats ground and pound. Probably didn't even need the ground and pound, but keep fighting till it's over. Yeah, this was one of the Yeah, I put this on Twitter, man. If you missed this, like while it happened, like if you didn't see this in real time, man, you missed out on a. This is like a moment in history. Like this was one of those moments that I'm glad it was worth me staying up late for to watch. Um, kind of wish I could have been like around other people because I think it would have been even been crazier. But this was just one of those moments that like if you didn't see this in real time, man, you missed out. You missed out on a really just epic, crazy moment. Like stuff like this when you're not gonna see that often. These are like those once in a lifetime
This
kind of
is
moments.
better than GSP beating Bisbing in his comeback fight at MSG for me. Just because, like, the awful freaking year DC had last year.
Yeah. And I think the stakes were, let's say, higher. And then you consider like, yeah, like you said, like his whole past with Jones, like everything just leading up to this fight, and him having this moment, he's got to feel like he's taken that monkey off his back.
Like, I think we
somewhat.
talked about in the aftermath of that fight, or either that fight or in the build up to like Ustamir. We talked about like what could DC do to get that Jones stank off him. And like the answer was go up to heavyweight and take the title. And he did it.
Yeah, and here we are. Here we are. What was I gonna say? So I guess to just expand on that. So do we? Because I saw this on Twitter, I saw this on Facebook, going back and forth. Does this for you erase the Jones? Like, not maybe not erase it because we can't just act like it didn't happen, but does it ease some of that up a little bit?
Yes, and
like
it has less to do with like I hate to say it has less to do with Cormier, but like Jones has had this opportunity presented to him multiple times. Like, how many times did he defend this title? Like 7, 8 times.
Yeah.
Like, well, actually, 8 or 9, I think. But what? He point being, he's had these. He has been. I think Dana said like he had the title shot when he wanted, basically. Like this was supposed to be him. This was supposed to be Jones. Like 7 months ago, they were working on it when he failed the drug test. So like, DC doing it, being going up, taking the title before Jones could. It obviously doesn't erase the Jones loss, but
he's got a one up now.
He has the one up.
He's got a one up
because God knows when Jones is coming back, if Jones is coming back,
and really looking back at it in hindsight, they were kind of both, I think, on the same path. Like clearly at 205, nobody was going to beat either of them two other than each other. So the only other thing to do was to go up. Like they were both headed down that path anyway. But I guess it made more sense for Cormier being he fought at heavyweight already. But yeah, for Jones, had he stayed out of trouble, yeah, like this should have been him because
Gustafsson or like I'm just like, oh, he can do. If he can do that at heavyweight, I can do that at heavyweight.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and
that's the best. That's the best UFC heavyweight champion of all time. That he did that too inside of a round. And I know it's a heavyweight where like inside of a round, like that's not really impressive because like it's heavyweight, or as impressive as it would be if that happened at like flyweight or featherweight or lightweight or whatever. But that's still pretty damn impressive.
Yeah,
to just come up and and apparently he was hurt during this camp. Like he threw out his back. Like he had to shut down camp for a little bit, according to Dana. Like it's crazy. like just the ultimate feel good moment. Also,
So
kind of just
again,
shows you
begs the
heavyweight
question. so, so I guess begs the question. All right, so obviously after the fight, the Brock Lesnar, I cut it off, to be honest. Like after the shove and after Lesnar started talking about Stipe and then Ngannou and Lewis, I cut it off because I brought all three of those dudes will wash you probably inside of a round. You might be Lewis. No, he probably wouldn't. He probably would
I
wash you
think it'd
too.
be Lewis.
But
I think
it'd be
would
Lewis.
if he didn't get
If he stuck to a
the
game plan,
wrestling. Like that's
yeah.
the thing. Like Brock Lesnar, if he's in this division, is like the third best wrestler in the division, behind like Cormier and what's his name, Blades. Like he might be on par with Stipe. Like that's where he's at.
Yeah.
But
And honestly, I've caped for Brock in the past, but
DC watches
I
him.
don't exactly like. And I'm trying to get people to understand this. Like, listen, man. I know we want to see. Well, I ain't gonna say we because I'm not in this boat, but you know, exciting fights and cash grab fights. I get it. They're gonna happen, but this isn't the one to me, and for a couple of
This ain't
reasons.
it, man.
This ain't it. For one, DC would
I mean,
wash him.
I want it to happen because I want DC to retire with like $50 million because he's earned it.
Yeah, I mean, and that would be the one good thing about that fight is DC would definitely get his payday.
Like that's the fight do like a 1.2 million draw, and that's the fight that DC leaves on. Like after he becomes
Right.
like a pay-per-view draw.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't be so against this because we all know, man, Brock's gonna fail the drug test, man.
I mean, and I'm fine with
Like-
that. I'm fine with it. You know why? Because when Jones failed the drug test, they let him come back and fight for the title.
That is true.
Like titles don't mean shit. Ask Rafael Sunset.
Yeah.
Dude, this
yeah.
guy's 11 wins at bantamweight, still can't even sniff a title shot.
It's just this. It. I don't know. I don't want to see DC and Brock. That fight does nothing for me. I would be very interested to see DC and Blades. Albeit, I know that's not a pay-per-view draw. That's not going to get you your million buys. But Brock coming back it's a flash in the pan, man. Like it's going to be just one moment and then it's going to be over. Like this is not going to be any longevity. He's not going to come back and stick around for forever.
I'm fine with that. Because that's Brock.
But see, I'm not against you not sticking around, but just don't fight the champ, man. Like if you want to fight some other people, if they wanted to do him and Jones, I'm all for him and Jones. I don't care who fails what drug test. I don't care if Jones is coked up a second before the fight starts. I'm all for that. But like for title fights, it's like, come on, bro. Like move around. Like go. I don't know. But if it does happen, I'll watch. And I'll be expecting DC that fight will probably him and Brock will probably end like him and Stipe did. He's gonna catch Brock on the chin, and it's gonna be over. It's gonna be over. He's gonna sleep.
You do that fight, you throw like some combination of Lewis, Volkov, and Blades on the undercard and the co-main event. Matter of fact, throw all of them in like fights. Find the fourth heavyweight that's not what's his face, Francis Ngannou. Like the winner of Boygoy Ivanov and Junior Dos Santos. Throw them all on the same card. Should Lesnar win, he fights the winner of that, like whoever is the most impressive that night. Should DC win and he retires, you have the winners from those fights face off for the title.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess they got options
For the first time.
But yeah, they're right.
Matter of fact, have one of them fight Gus. Fuck having Gus fight for the heavyweight title. Just scrap the division. Or better yet, Let Yoel Romero hold the light heavyweight belt.
That actually does sound like a bad idea. You could definitely throw Gus at heavyweight because I think he lays waste to some
You
people
see,
out
like
there.
it's always been strange because I always thought like Gus. Well, obviously DC was a top like 3 heavyweight for a minute, but Gus, between like Gus and Jones, I always thought Gus had like the better like style to blast a heavyweight.
Yeah.
Just because he's a better puncher.
But we'll see. The aftermath of this is going to be interesting. But all in all, man, Daniel Cormier he's that dude. Yeah, he got the dad title on lock right now,
I think
and
this card
nobody.
did good numbers too. Like they did a $5.6 million gate. That's one of the biggest non-Floyd / Connor gates ever.
I mean, and I think I pointed this out before the card started. Like on paper, if this was really good matchmaking, all up and down this card. Like there weren't really any fights I looked at on this card and like batted an eye at in like a bad way. I was like, yeah, this fight doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, I know you had the Felder mix up, how that happened, but even that was still a good fight matchmaking wise. Like if Felder was gonna go up to welterweight, why not it not be against Mike Perry? So yeah, like all of these fights, matchmaking wise, on paper, were great, and most of them, minus the one we will talk about next, turned out pretty good.
Before we get into that, I don't think we mentioned this, but Max Holloway was supposed to be on this card.
Bruh.
Can
you imagine?
Skogs, who who went to Vegas to primarily see this fight.
Can you imagine, like, oh my God, can you imagine how much more epic this card would have been if that fight would have happened?
Tragic.
Like, regardless of who would have won, and then it would have ended with the Cormier and, oh my, like, the roof would have exploded. The whole stadium just would have blew up.
That would have put it on, like, the GSP card level of, the GSP MSG card level of just feel good.
Yeah, like, that would have been crazy. Oh, man, that
but
hurts.
For those who don't know, the Ortega Holloway fight was called off because Holloway was showing signs of concussion, but like they were saying he didn't have one. Like the doctors, they cleared him to fight, and it came out later. I'm not sure if it was like official or like it was just like a speculation on Dana's part, but Dana said something along the lines of the UFC doctors thought he suffered from water intoxication, which basically gives you the same symptoms as having a concussion without the permanent brain damage, I assume, which would be the best case scenario. Like, water intoxication is really low on the scale of things that you want fucking up your brain.
Right. Yeah, somebody told me they he didn't look too good.
He did an interview with Michael Bisping on Tuesday or Wednesday for UFC Tonight, and he sounded drunk. Like he just sounded completely out of it. And even like Bisping noticed, and he called him out. And he's like, "Are you tired? Are you okay?" Like, but no, like, dude was out. Like, if I had saw that on Wednesday, like live, I would have been like, I would have even called it out because it was so obvious.
Yeah, but hopefully he's better. Because that's a fight that God knows I need that fight in my life.
Like I'm always worried about these dudes who start fighting young and then like once they hit their mid-20s they just start falling apart and like this is the most I've seen Holloway hurt. Because this is the same dude who like 3 years ago was fighting like 5 times a year.
Yeah.
And that probably has something to do with the fact that he's having trouble making it to the cage now.
But I hope he gets better, man. The sport needs guys like him around, man. just a good dude, awesome fighter. You know, when he's in there. So I hope he's recovering well. But that's crazy. Even without that fight, this card was still awesome. But my God, if that fight could have still happened. But um, so since we didn't get a chance to watch Max Holloway and Brian Ortega, our co-main event was Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. And
How we talk about something when nothing happened?
this was a fight we were supposed to be, excited for. Yeah, I was talking to two people while this fight was happening. Because one of my friends he was having laptop problems, so he was asking me what happened, and I was talking to my other homeboy, and I told them both, nothing happened this fight. Like literally nothing happened. For 3 rounds, we got nothing. And Derek Lewis just did a little more of nothing, and and won a decision. It's interesting. I'm on Wikipedia, so I don't know how accurate this is, but the scores were 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27. I want to know what metrics of nothing they were using to figure out who did more. How did Ngannou get 1 round?
I don't know. I like this. Remember that Melvin Manhoff Rafael Cavallo fight, the first one.
Very famous.
It's the one where literally nothing happened, except Carvalho got.
Oh no! Okay, yeah, you said Carvalho. Yeah, okay, yeah, I do remember.
And they gave Carvalho the first round, despite the fact that he literally landed no strikes. Like if you go to like the fight metric or the CompuStrike or whatever the hell it's called, it will show you that he threw like 18 strikes and landed none of them. Well,
you got a A for effort.
landed 1. He landed on a leg kick.
Oh man.
So this fight reminded me of that, but it's the worst fight I've ever seen. So
this was one of those fights that after a while I had to laugh at it to remind myself how bad, to keep myself from being sad of how terrible this fight was. It was. Joe Rogan was so angry. Joe Rogan spent the entire second and third round trying to figure out why nothing was happening. I felt like he was just running through every scenario in his head, and he just blurted them out loud, trying to figure out why nobody was throwing a punch. It was this was the most bizarre. It's nothing to describe. Like if you didn't watch this fight, literally nothing happened.
2 guys got into the cage. Bruce Buffer said their names. The ref said, "Let's get it on." And then they just stared at each other.
Yeah, nobody got it on. And at one point, Herb Dean stepped in and basically told him, "Listen, man, y'all need to throw some hands because
there are thousands of people watching right now. I'm not sure if you guys were aware of this.
People paid for this." Oh man, yeah.
Lewis in the post fight at the conference was just like, "Yeah, my doctor says I have to lose 25 pounds because my back hurts so much all the time."
Jesus Christ!
And I'm just like, Ngannou, you also that,
man. What was even worse was before the fight started, I was just looking at Ngannou. I was like, "Oh man, he looks like he really leaned out. He maybe his cardio's better. He'll be able to push a higher pace or keep up the pace for faster amount." I found out that he can dance around for 3 rounds.
I just call it that.
We're right. Maybe not a full blown dance, like a little 2-step, little the uncle at the barbecue shimmy. But,
dude,
yeah. There's literally nothing to analyze this fight because nothing.
You can pull a Joe Rogan and try to figure out what the fuck happened. So okay. This other podcast I listened to, Heavy Hands. One of the is by writers from Bloody Elbow. this dude Phil McKenzie. I was listening to I was all hyped for this fight until I heard him talk and everything he said made sense. He was like, "Yeah, this fight's gonna be terrible because neither guy likes to engage first, so there's a good chance they're just going to stare at each other for 8.5 minutes before anything happens." Little did he know it happened the entirety of the fight.
Right. And I was prepared for this to happen for one round because both guys are fresh at the start. Nobody's trying to make a mistake and get their head knocked off. But I didn't think the feeling out process was going to be all 15 minutes.
So what you're saying is they should have had 2 more rounds.
No, I think we're good.
Dana went ham on what's his name, Ngannou, in the post fight. Called him an egomaniac. Which,
yeah, I just imagine this entire fight. Dana, he doesn't even have hair, and he was pulling his hair out. He was grabbing the veins in his bald head and just.
I straight up don't know. You figured they'd throw one punch.
Yeah.
It's so.
Yeah, I don't.
This is the joke parody of a heavyweight fight. That when I say heavyweight fights are bad, this is the joke version of what I think of bad heavyweight fights being. But it's real.
Did Stipe beat that much out of you?
Was he just so afraid of being so gassed again?
Cause even we've mentioned this plenty of times. JDS was never the same after the Kane fight, but he'll still throw a punch. It's not that bad. He'll still engage.
JDS's decline was physical, and Ngannou seems to be 100% mental.
It was This was, and then on Lewis's end, I was thinking you got to be thinking all right, this guy, is he afraid of me? Maybe I should just try something. I mean, and to Lewis's credit, he was the only. Neither one of them did much, but Lewis at least tried. He threw a couple of switch kicks. he had a smidgen of offense, just a little bit, very minor, but it was something.
Enough to win the fight.
Right, it was just enough to win. Literally, if one of them could have landed one hard straight left, they could have won the entire fight. Probably.
I thought the video was gonna go they stare at each other, one of them decides fuck it, and then the other one counters and knocked them out. But that didn't happen. They just kind of stared at each other.
Yeah, that was literally it. 15 minutes. We talked as long as we talked about this fight is crazy because nothing happened. It was nothing happened. Literally nothing. Somebody said this on Twitter, and I agree. They should both go down in the rankings. Nobody should move up. You have to go down a spot.
Shouts to Demetrius Johnson for a tweet of the night. Hold on, I'm pull it up real quick. Get it. Now the next time who says flyweight sucks, I'm going to pull this fight with all respect.
I mean, it's true. You can talk about the flyweights not knocking each other out or not having as many finishes as you would like, but they don't do this. Nobody does this. This is all heavyweight MMA. This is
heavyweight MMA taken to an extreme, but not that extreme. This is basically every other Lewis fight. Except that his opponents tend to do more. Which in turn gives Lewis more opportunities to do more. We didn't even see Ngannou's jab, which I expected to see on full display.
We saw half feints and bouncing around. I can't remember which listener sent in that question about them doing a card in Africa. Yeah, bro, that's a no go. That's over now.
I mean,
any plans that could have happened?
A guy was gonna have to go on a whole nother streak.
Yeah, I think that's over. Yeah, there will be no Africa, UFC in Africa anytime soon.
Unless somebody else comes out and just starts wrecking people.
Yeah, but we'll move along. We spent long enough on that fight where literally nothing
that
happened.
Fight got
It was just
banned
nothing.
in France again.
But, yeah, man. I don't even know what to say to congratulations. I just moving along. Whatever.
At least he had
whatever.
self-awareness to say that fight sucked.
Right.
Granted,
he didn't even get a post-fight interview.
He says that after every other one of his fights.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. But moving on to the next happening, which was much more eventful and violent. Paul Felder moves up to welterweight to take on Mike Perry. I guess the first thing I noticed about Perry, well, for one, they mentioned, I guess he's at Jackson's now. And everything about his performance to me screamed Jackson's. It looked like before this fight, Greg Jackson gave him the patented speech of just calm down and drink some water. He was very contained, what I think is a good thing, though. Like, he didn't go out and just wing a bunch of overhand rights and uppercuts and just hope something landed. Like, his attack was a bit more, probably as calculated, I think, as we've seen him. A lot more methodical, better picking his shots. But it was still violent in spurts. Very bloody fight. I can't remember which round where Perry caught Felder with that left.
Second.
And his eye or a cut above his eye. I can't remember if in his eye or above his eye, but his face just immediately just blood red, just blood everywhere after that left hand landed. Now they had it was a pretty entertaining fight. Props to Felder, who broke his arm. I think literally in the first round, he threw a spinning back fist and it landed on the forearm. And apparently from that point on, his arm was broke, and he was still throwing the spinning back fist. He was still kind of throwing with his right hand, even though his arm was apparently broken. So he gutted out what I imagine had to have been a very painful experience to even make it all three. It was a pretty nice back and forth. I thought, like I said, Perry did a good job, I think, of being just more calculated with his attack. Good job of throwing right. Two functioning arms, an elbow that he used pretty good coming out of the clinch a few times. I guess you could say that for Paul Felder also. I think Felder, in moments, he wasn't able to do it during the entire fight. I wish he would have stayed with the leg kick more, because it worked pretty well for him in the first. And then I feel like after a while, it just kind of wasn't, like he didn't throw it as much.
Just, Perry just walking him down. Like, he just throwing off the back leg is so tiring.
Yeah.
There are really, only 3 or 4 fighters in this sport who can kick moving backwards.
And it worked for a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like you said, Perry did eventually just, he put the pressure on him. When Felder was able to keep it at distance, like he would land some good shots. I think he landed like a spinning back kick to the body a couple of times, but he didn't have enough of those moments because Perry was just kind of able to get in his face a lot. But it was definitely a really competitive fight, back and forth. Went to split decision. I'm not mad at the decision. I don't think anybody really protested it. I'm not mad at Perry winning. I think I gave him the first and the third. Can't remember, but I definitely gave him 2 rounds, like pretty solid. But for Felder though, like for coming up to welterweight, and I think they mentioned this during the broadcast, like I don't know if he's a mainstay at welterweight. Like I don't know if this is a permanent home. I think this will probably just be a one-off. But either way, it was a pretty good performance for him to be at welterweight, and if there was anybody for him to fight, I think Mike Perry was a good opponent. Somebody who's not a huge welterweight, who can just kind of toss him around. His skill set would still work for him. Just he kind of got overpressured and bloodied up, which doesn't help the cause. But Yeah, props to Mike Perry though, man. He had a really he looked like he went into this fight with like a game plan, and he was able to stick to it like pretty effectively without getting too crazy or wild out there.
Like had like what 5 months off. Like that's a big deal because before Perry fought like 9 times in his first like 2.5 years in the UFC. That's insane. So, like that time off just to like, oh no, it was his first 2 years in the UFC. Like that's an insane pace to keep up or whatever. Fight just like on your body. So like see him like despite all the dumb, terrible shit that Mike Perry says, like he's smarter than he seems, I guess. Like he realized pretty early on that just training with Alex Nicholson, his racist ass dad, wasn't going to get him very far. So he started splitting time at ATT. He realized that his body broke down on him because he was taking too many fights. So he stopped. So he used that time to go train at like Jackson's. Now he's going to Vegas, so he can train. I don't remember. I think he was trying to take one of the Jackson coaches with him, but he's going to go train at like Extreme Couture. Like this dude is still learning on the job. This was his best performance so far of his career. As for Felder, like, he took the fight on like what 9 days notice.
Yeah, can't fault you
have to
for
go up a weight class. You're probably starving, because he was fixing to make the cut, prior to the fight. Like, and like he took Perry to a split decision with a broken arm.
right.
It probably did defend those takedowns late, so kudos to Felder. God, it really sucks because they denied him his title fight. The opponent he was supposed to fight got like a main event slot. I mean, James Vick, like, it just sucks, And then he comes out here and he gets an L on his record that looks worse than it actually is.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, he honestly wasn't, if not for a broken arm and maybe able to capitalize off a few opportunities, he could have stole around and won the fight. Like, it wasn't like the fight was a wipeout. Like, it was very competitive. It's just he was getting edged out. He was getting beat to the punch a little bit. But yeah, man, I definitely want to see him again. I'm always down for a Felder fight. So like I said, I don't think he'll be staying at welterweight, but either way, great fight for both dudes. Props to Perry for improving his game. Because I think they mentioned in the broadcast he had only been training at Jackson's for like a month or two, but it already looks like it's paying off. Like whatever they got accomplished in that little time looks like it's working. So stick with that. See how far it takes him. But props to both gentlemen. Pretty awesome and bloody fight. Definitely one to watch. This next fight, Anthony Pettis and Michael Chiesa.
Making me feel like a dumbass.
I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this fight, and I can't even be mad at the people that picked against Pettis because they were like, he's out here looking pretty washed lately. Like he's not the same Pettis that was like back in the day when he was on his run. But I was like, listen, man, let me believe that there's still something left in the tank, and I got it, man. There's still something there. It's not a lot. I'm not about to say he's about to go on a run, but there's just enough in the tank that he got this win. Wasn't looking too good in the first. As soon as Chiesa got him down, I was like, oh God, here we go. It's gonna be one of those fights where he just gets taken down and grinded out for a win, and I'm gonna hate myself for thinking he could pull this out. But I mean, Chiesa did good in the first. Like he just used his striking just enough to just get some takedowns and have that working for him. But luckily, Pettis was able to get out of a few bad spots. Um, I think he reversed a couple of positions, was able to find himself and get back on the feet. And then in the second round, Pettis looked. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing. I always like just for fighters who are in Pettis' position where it seems like they've been on kind of a slump. Look at body language a lot because I feel like sometimes in Pettis' fights, since he's been on a slump, it kind of just looks like he's not like he's lost, but kind of like something just off when he's out there. Like it just looks like I don't know, like he's a deer in the headlights
Like,
sometimes.
sometimes it just looks like he's like physically done.
Right, like he looks,
And
yeah,
like weird thinking of him as a dude who ran up the.
right, right. But in this fight, especially in the second round, like for the first time in a while, it looked like he was like having fun, like just a little bit. Like it looked like he looked fresher than I've seen him as of recent. Like he looked like he was having a bit fun. He was getting a little loose. Um, he he caught Casilla with a nice body kick, and Casilla tried to wave it off. It's like, nah, bro, I know that hurt. And then he fired one of his own back, and then he got caught. I don't even think he caught him with the 1-2 because I don't think the left hand even landed or did it. I can't remember because he stuck him with the right, but I thought he threw a punch before that. I don't remember if it landed, but either way, he caught Chiesa with a right. The right dropped him. He went up for a flying knee, which I realized in the replay didn't land at all. It was more of him jumping in the air, and Chiesa just kind of fell down. He went for the guillotine, which he ended up not getting, but then they had a little transition on the ground. He went from a guillotine, and then I think somehow that ended up being a triangle, which then in turn ended up being an armbar. And once you sink the armbar in, that was pretty much the end of that. And Pettis got the W. Is that 2 in a row? Because he beat he beat Miller, right?
Yeah, but he lost to Poirier.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that.
I know this is weird because he ended up the start of his loss came from him like striking with Pettis, but like, I feel like Chiesa focused way too much on getting the fight to the ground. Like his success came when he marched down Pettis. Like you can't move backwards against Pettis. Edson Barbosa can move backwards against Pettis because Edson Barbosa is quick and a world like has some of the best leg kicks in MMA. But like if you're Chiesa, your whole strategy should be I'm going to take away Pettis' space, keep him on the feet, so he doesn't submit me because this is his 7th submission in the UFC WEC off his back, which puts him at number 1.
Yep.
All time for submissions off your back. Like like you just can't move backwards against Pettis. That's when he wins the fight. Like when you move backwards or when you stand straight or straight in front of him. Like he's a master of just making you pay for moving out of the like trying to escape him. And like I don't even know what the hell Chiesa was trying to do with that kick as Pettis threw the punch. Like it didn't look like a high kick. It kind of looked like a side kick, but I don't think I've ever seen Chiesa throw a side kick, so it couldn't have been that. But it was just like this weird, unguarded. Maybe it was a leg kick. Maybe it was like a leg kick, and then Pettis just followed him back with a right hand that threw Chiesa to the ground. I don't know why I found it funny because like he's like trying to kick at Pettis' body to keep him away as he's falling, and Pettis is like, "No, fuck that."
Right. And I don't.
It's
well,
worth mentioning. This is going to be Kies's last fight at lightweight. He's going up to welterweight.
yeah. Nah, I forgot about that. I don't know how I think he'll do up there, but I guess we'll
Depends
see.
if
But
it
for
depends
Pet,
if he does the Poirier thing and he just gets better when he gets there, because he doesn't have to worry about like making weight.
I think his skill set will transfer, but I'm not sure how far it'll take him. Is what I worry. But with his ground game, I think he'll be okay for a little bit. But I was gonna say for Pettis, like I get it. Like Pettis has been on a slump. He's been kind of inconsistent as of late. But he's still, in terms of like just being an opportunist, one of the most dangerous people. We've seen him before. He just needs a split second to either sink a choke in or throw up his legs, and you're out of there. Like you can't. You have to be cautious at all times, especially when you're on the ground. Like when dude is off his back, he's not just sitting there, just you know, letting you get off whatever you're trying to get off. Like he's gonna try to snatch a limb or snatch your neck or do something. And as we saw here, he threw up the leg for armbar or for the triangle, then transitioned to the armbar, and that was over. So shout outs to Pettis, man, back in the win column. It was a nice feel good moment because he's just one of those dudes. You just at this point you never know what you're gonna get, but you know there's still something, little bit left in the tank. Oh God, I just realized what the next fight is, and I don't even want to talk about it. uh, but you mentioned his name earlier, so we have to.
Khalil Roundtree.
Khalil Roundtree Jr. Gokhan Saki.
First round knockout.
Yeah. You know what? I'll let you lead this one because I just don't want to talk about it.
So Khalil Roundtree Jr. Went out there and knocked out one of the greatest kickboxers of all time in just over 90 seconds, highlighting MMA is very different from kickboxing. Yeah. Khalil caught him with like a left hand straight down the pipe, and I know, I think
He countered him off a leg kick.
and it was over instantly. Like the second he was just not getting back up. I don't even know where to go with this. Like, I want to call it an upset, but it's not an upset. It is, but it isn't. Like, it's an upset because of who Saki is. Like, he's one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. It's not because this is a completely different sport. But it is because, he beat him striking, but it isn't because Saki, I never thought Saki's striking game would translate over to MMA super well.
Yeah, like you said, it's an upset in terms of just status. Because if you know Saki, if you watch his kickboxing career, you know what we know what we've seen him do to people.
World class.
But at the same,
but like Saki, like just like who he's been in there with, like Spong, and like all the Gita and all those heavyweights and Nayanga, and like dude is credentialed out the ass. Might be the best kickboxer ever fight in the UFC. Like I think his only competitions like Crow Cop.
But it didn't matter. I wasn't too surprised because 4-ounce gloves. This can happen.
No, it looks like Saki has his hand up to like block, and he fully expects like to have like the full 8-ounce glove there. Or what do they use? Like 10, 12s in kickboxing?
Yeah. It's between like 8 and 10, I think. But that doesn't work. Yeah.
Like it's a naked ass leg kick. Like nothing before it, nothing.
Yeah, he
doesn't even step off a line. It's just like it's just there. Like it's a thing that happens in So, well, Saki's Turkish, so I guess that wouldn't make sense. But a lot of the dudes he fights are like Dutch style kickboxers, where there aren't a whole lot of same time counters, which this basically was.
No.
It's a lot of your turn, my turn style kick fighting, where like one guy will go and you'll show up, and then you'll go and then he'll show up, you know, and you don't get that in MMA.
Not at all. It's when the punches are coming, they're coming. You gotta be ready.
And Roundtree, for all his technical faults, is one, he hits hard as shit, and two, he's athletic as fuck.
Yeah.
Like he's really fast and really strong. So he can hit he's a knockout threat against basically anybody.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I wasn't surprised that I was more hurt, but not surprised that Saki got knocked out, because you had to know going into this fight, like, this was how this fight was going to end for either one of them. Somebody was going to get slept. Like, there was no other way this fight was going to end. I just wanted to believe that Saki would have had the striking prowess to be able to get off first. But, you know, as we've seen in the sport many times, man, sometimes it just ain't your night. Like, sometimes it's just the ball is not gonna swing in your favor. And he ate a left hand for his troubles, and that was it. So, but congrats to Roundtree. That's got to be a really feel good win. Like you took down like a combat sports like god. Like you knocked him off very emphatically. So that's got to be a feel good moment for him. So I can't take anything away from his performance. It just hurt my feelings, but I'll get over it. But I don't look forward to seeing that highlight now every time I see Roundtree. Now I have to watch that over and over. But it is what it is. But either way, exciting fight, or at least exciting finish. It ended in violent fashion like we assumed it would. So that was the main card, pretty much. So, I mean, other than the fight that we shall not mention, all of these other fights were pretty entertaining. So going on to the prelims.
This one.
Yeah. Paulo Costa and Uriah Hall. This might have been fight of the night for me.
It should have been fight of the night.
Yeah. This
cheated Uriah of his $50,000.
Who did get fight of the night? I didn't know.
He's 0-4 performance of the night. Pettis, Roundtree, Cormier, and Costa.
What? This was the easy fight of the night. Danny wilding. But yeah, this fight was crazy. Real back and forth, really high pace. Dudes were just throwing, trying to kill. Well, the Uriah Hall was trying to be a bit more methodical. Costa was trying to take heads and body. Yeah, man, it was just a violent back and forth fight. Uriah Hall, I don't know what the stats were, but he threw that jab like 80 times.
Dude, at one point, he threw it 8 times in a row, and they all landed.
Yeah, like, Costa, I don't know if you were just, like, trying to be gladiator and just keep marching forward, but, dude, he ate a lot of jabs. And you could tell after a while, man, he was starting to feel them. I think for the first couple, he might have got through just off adrenaline, but after a while, I'm pretty sure those started to hurt. Like, because Uriah had some snap on those jabs, man. He was landing them just at will. But yeah, man, just really good back and forth fight. I think what Costa did pretty good, aside from just hitting crazy hard in the moments where he would catch Uriah on the fence. Good job of just mixing it up, going from head to body. I mean, he was ripping body shots. Like,
those
ripping body shots.
Saved his ass, because like when Uriah actually did drop him in the second round, he was just too tired to do anything.
Yeah,
because like just Costa invested so heavily in the body.
It paid off. But yeah, he caught Uriah with like 4 nut shots. Like, because there were a couple of them they didn't call. Like, he caught the kick. He caught a couple of grazes that they didn't call, and then they ended up calling the one that they stopped for a while. But yeah, Uriah almost, his family jewels almost didn't make it out intact. But Yeah, he dropped Costa, but like you said, he couldn't follow up. He just looked pretty exhausted, and it made sense. They were throwing at a really high pace,
What?
um, just wild
What?
back and forth fight. But
Oh,
uh you're right, you're
did you
right.
tell her?
He got caught
Okay.
back against the cage. He he ate some hands for his troubles. Was it an uppercut that dropped
I'm
him?
not even. It was just like it was a
I can't
flurry
even
of just like a
remember.
million bombs going off in Uriah's face.
I think Uriah just dropped. Like I don't know what he got hit with, but yeah, he just dropped to the floor. You know, when you face plant, it's not a good thing.
The winning. The left hook, uppercut, right hand, jab, left hook.
Jesus.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh
Yeah.
God.
It's like one of those super punch out combos.
All right. Left hook rocks him. Okay. Yep. Right hand, right uppercut, left hook. Okay, he's down. God.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it was.
In real
Yeah,
time, I was like, is he gonna stop on the feet? And no, he should have.
yeah. It was bad. He ate a lot, and those were the moments that cost Uriah the most when he would just get caught with his back against the cage. Like Costa would just tee
Right.
off
Like
on him,
that's
and
been Uriah's problem his whole career, where he just like he's really bad at moving left and right.
it's the JDS syndrome.
But unlike JDS, he actually does it, but he's really bad at it. Like because
Yeah.
of, like he keeps his hands low and his head straight up in the air, and he like moves out of stance to move. Like he tends to get caught with a left hook, just moving out of the way. It's how Chris Weidman knocked him out. It's how Costas Philippou beat him on the regional scene. It's how what's his name, Brunson. Would learn by now. Like,
Actually, I think that's what started. Didn't Costa before the finish? He caught him with a
yeah,
nasty left.
just like right in front of him. Like Uriah was just too tired to do anything.
Yeah, yeah, but this was definitely fight of the night, man. It was really violent back and forth. Like I said, they both had moments. Uriah dropped him, Costa stunned him, but eventually finished him. Like I said, Uriah Hall threw 80,000 jabs and landed 79,000 of them. Like it was a bloody, just a fun back and forth fight between both. But Costa, he's dude's just really vicious, just really tenacious, and mixing it well with the head and body, ended up getting the finish. So he continues his little streak.
For middleweight prospects.
Much needed. More. I can't even call them tough dads. These are young dads who will grow to be tough dads. But
Gerald
yeah,
Mearshart.
that's yeah. But shout outs to Costa. He got the finish, so he'll be moving up. I think Adesanya said he wanted the winner of this
Don't do
fight.
that,
So
don't waste two against each other.
yeah, as fun and as violent as it could be, middleweight needs
Some of the barrel middleweights.
yeah. Let them go on separate paths and maybe let them meet in like a contender fight or something down the line. But either way though, if that fight does happen, I'm still gonna watch because it's gonna be violent and fun. But Costa got the W. So shout out to him. Pretty vicious finish. On to the next fight. Rafael Assunção and Rob Font. Once again, Stokes, why did you bet against
Assunção's going to
Assunção?
have 20 UFC wins at bantamweight, and he still won't get a title shot.
Like, props to Rob Font, man. This was a big step up in competition. Easily the best fighter he's probably ever faced. But Assunção, man. Like, dude they mentioned this during the broadcast. Like, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, so he doesn't give you a ton to work with. Like, and to beat him, Fawn is a good striker, but he's primarily a boxer, and he doesn't have a ton much else really going for him in terms of like a well-rounded offense. And so unless you're somebody who's just gonna like recklessly engage and get into like a shootout with him, a guy like a Sun Tzu who's not gonna do that. Like he's not gonna give you
Or
a
just
ton of
outthink him.
right. Like there's not a lot you can do with a guy like a Sun Tzu. Like there's not a lot you can do. He's well rounded. He's fast on the feet. He's just as good as anybody else on the feet. Clearly on the ground, this fight was one sided in the moments where Sun Tzu would take him down. So it was just a Sun Tzu gonna Sun Tzu. I don't even really know much else to say. Like
like low key, like sometimes it's really hard. Like really, really hard because
was this the fight? Am I mixing up? Did
yeah,
he
the
drop
first
Font?
round.
That quick like flick.
Yeah, that right hand over the top. Like there's a reason like a sunset, all of the Sunset's fights are like these slow paced like burner fights, like low flame. What you call it? It's because he hits really hard, and like if you eat 2 or 3 of those, you kind of pick up on the guy isn't like pressing the action. You kind of take your foot off the pedal. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Matthew Lopez knockout didn't come out of nowhere. It's because the Sunset can crack. Probably doesn't do it enough for most people's likings, but like, dude's just hella smart. Like he's found a game where he can still operate as a top 10 fighter at 35 years old and having fought for like 14 years. Like he does a fantastic job of like Font would land with the jab, and Sunset would realize, oh, if he's landing with the jab, that means he's in range if I take one step and throw my right hand. And then he would make Font pay for landing the jab. And then that would disincentivize Font from throwing the jab anymore. Like it's just simple stuff like that, and it's stuff that comes with years and years and years of experience. This man is 11-2 at bantamweight, by the way. I mean, I guess technically 11-1, and or 10-1, I guess if you count the Matthew Lopez coming in overweight as a catchweight, but like, and the people he's beaten Johnny Eduardo, he beat T.J. Dillashaw, he beat Pedro Munoz, he beat Brian Caraway, he beat Aljamain Sterling, he beat Marlon Moraes, Matthew Lopez, and Rob Font. Like, he has this. I'll give him the second best active resume at 135 right now.
Yeah, give the man a big fight. Like, why isn't he fighting
if
like?
TJ beats Garbrandt and Cruz isn't ready, just let him fight DJ again. Just run the trilogy fight, get it out the way, because let's be real, TJ's gonna win that fight. Because I think TJ's just operating at a totally different level.
Yeah. He from that first fight, he leaps and bounds. Not even the same dude.
Just get the fight out the way. Like I get it, you guys don't want like throw it on a co-main event, throw it on Fox or ESPN, do your 5 rounds. You know, you get the whole because I don't think TJ's gonna put him away. If he does, it's gonna be like a 5th round stoppage. So you get your whole 25-minute broadcast, you get your overrun. I know that's important to like TV execs and wherever. You know, it'll be a fine fight. Might not light the house on fire, but whatever. Like, just give the man his title shot.
Yeah. But other than that, he's just gonna keep beating up on your. He's gonna keep beating up on everybody else.
And like he'll eventually stop. Like he has to get old eventually, or older anyway.
Or at least give him like a. If you're not gonna give him a title shot, can he fight like Lineker or? I don't know.
Give him those fights because I don't know. I guess they're afraid to waste.
That he'll stifle. Yeah, he'll send somebody back down the ladder that they want coming up. But yeah, get the man his title shot. Like he's on like that Matt Brown run that Brown had, but his competition was a lot better. I don't know, but yeah, get the man his title shot.
And get a second shot at GSP. This is like times 10 to me.
Right. yeah, it's wild. It's wild. But shout out to Sunsao, man. The dude is he's like the silent killer. Nobody mentions his name, but if you know, you know. He'll give you the business. He'll get you out of here. But shout out to him. Got a unanimous decision win. Next fight, Drakkar Klose and Lando Venata. Good job on Drakkar for kicking Lando's shin until it almost fell off. Venata had a few moments. You know, he's a wild dude, pretty dynamic. He had a few of those moments where he was to be able to create enough distance to do something kind of crazy, but Klose had just a really good game plan and just kind of executed as well as you could against Venata. He can throw too. Like, dude's really talented. He kind of, I'm gonna say stifled Venata, but kind of sort of did. Like,
especially early on. Anytime Venata would try to close distance, because that's like they were talking about. Oh, Venata needs range and he needs like all this give him distance and he'll make you pay. But Venata's really best when he is like in that mid short range where he can fire off like I'm gonna call them like those TJ Dillashaw style exchanges where like he's moving around on the inside, but he doesn't do it as cleanly or as like his attack pattern is as well thought out as Dillashaw's is. Like at range, all he has to offer are like those spinning kicks. Like he's not like a very good jab. He's not a very good boxer from distance. Like they're just giant holes in his game. And props to Klose because him and his team realized that and we're just like, yeah, no, we're gonna. Anytime you try to close distance, we're just going to grab you. Or if you're at distance, that means your leg is like there to be kicked because you're going to try and turn. Because that's all Venata does at distance. He tries to go for the spinning shit. So what do? You kick his front leg. Because that's where all the weight's going to be.
Yeah, he kicked that bad boy repeatedly.
I was so happy about that because like you'll get the dudes who like they find success with the leg kick and then they're like, okay, time to move on to something else. Nah, Klose was just like, fuck it, we're gonna go 15 minutes of me kicking you right in the leg.
Right. His shin almost fell off in the third. Like, surprised he was even still standing on it. But yeah, man. So Klose's beat. Oh, his last fight was the Mark.
Was it DKC or was it
I think
was it what's his name?
I thought it was DKC. I could be wrong.
Tamura. No, Taylor. No, Tamura. The ref was like, David Timur, you have to fight Drakkar Klose on his terms. Don't you know that's Drakkar Klose?
But yeah, man, just good, just really good performance from Drakkar, man. He just kind of shut Lando down, man.
That was a professional performance. That's what that's what being a pro is all about.
That's somebody I look at that performance. I'm like, you definitely listened to your coaches. You did everything they told you to do. Because that was about as close as a picture perfect shutout as you could do without getting the finish. So, yeah, shout outs to Klose, man. That was an awesome performance. And hopefully we'll see Lando back. I'm still always down for a Lando fight just because he's a wild guy. But, close, man. And these lightweights, just killers and great fighters, just every which direction.
This is a division where you can pull a dude off the regional scene and he beats a top 10 dude just because he's that good.
Why can't we just do a UFC pay-per-view and just have it be a lightweight tournament? Or not even a lightweight tournament, just like an all lightweight card.
The UFC hates fun. And if the UFC were to put all their lightweight fights on one card, like, then all the rest of their cards would probably suck. They need the lightweights to carry these cards.
That is true. Yeah, you got to spread the love out a little bit. But yeah, shout out to Jakar Close, man. Really, really awesome performance. And rounding out the prelims was Curtis Melinder. Well, actually, this was the start of the prelims, but Curtis Melinder and Max Griffin. I really like watching Melinder fight.
He's hella fun. He is the best. He has one of the best step-in knees in MMA.
Bro, he was. And I was wondering because in the first round, like, Max was doing really good with pressure. I think he took him down a couple times. But after he ate a couple of them stepping knees, and I think he almost got decapitated with a head kick, that he blocked it. But I think it put him on notice. That pressure kind of wilted a little bit. Like, I felt like it just kept him at bay just enough to where he couldn't get off the same pressure that he was in the first. Yeah, man, Melinder's just really good at just timing knees. Like, he's not doing anything really, like, he's not wild. He's really calculated. He times his shots very well. And you could tell towards, like, the second and the third, he got a lot more comfortable. He started getting off shots a bit more. He tagged him up pretty good in the third round. Almost thought he was going to finish him. He caught him up against the cage. He landed some really good knees in the clinch. It was a fun fight. This fight was kind of what I hoped it would. I thought Max was going to be a bit more. I thought he was going to keep that same pressure as he did in the first, but I mean, it made sense. He ate a couple of those knees, and I think that kind of made him a bit apprehensive.
And part just exhaustion because this man is just kneeing like the gut repeatedly.
Right. And it's hard knees. Like, he's landing them like just as flush as you can. Like, yeah, it's beautiful to just watch his striking and his timing, man. Melinda's really, really awesome to watch. Know what I thought about during this fight? Didn't MVP beat Melinda? How would that fight go, you think, if they ran it back?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I feel like when he fought Melinda, like, Melinda was still good back then, but he wasn't this guy.
I'm going to give it to MVP. MVP's strength lies primarily in distance. Oh, wait, no, he was supposed to fight Melinda. He fought Fernando Gonzalez and Brandon Ward.
Who did he beat then? Oh, no, he fought
Ricky Reigns or something.
Rainey?
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember that right too. Wrong too.
God, I thought he fought
Fight was supposed
because I remember being, because I remember being really hyped for that fight. Cause like, oh yeah, he's finally gonna fight somebody who will like fight him back and who's like pretty good on the feet. But that sucks.
I'd be curious how Melinda handles somebody who fights like MVP, where like all of MVP's offense comes from either like a blitz off the counter or like just being able to attack from range. Because I'm not sure how Melinda handles like a good range fighter.
Yeah.
But no, this was a great performance from both guys. I'll say because like Griffin toughed it out. Like you said, that knee he ate up along the fence, like it looked like it should have put him to sleep.
Yeah.
But he toughed that one out. So props to him.
Is Melinda 2-0 or 3-0?
2-0 in the UFC.
2-0. Yeah, man, I'm interested to see how far he can. I'm interested to see how far he can go with his skill set. I'm not sure how he does against if he fights a high level wrestler who will be able to put him on his back repeatedly.
That seems to be the one gigantic hole in his game. Like Griffin just getting on top of him and just kind of beating him up, and him having no clue how to get up. And he said, because he wasn't moving hips or anything. He was just I just had a massive brain fart. Like, I'd get up every day. Like, we do that drill every day. Like, get your hips, shrimp out. But I don't know what happened. No, it sucks that welterweight, like the middle of the division is so much more interesting than the top.
And the middle, man, everybody's trying to fight it out to, just kind of squirm their way in like the top 10, top 15. Meanwhile, at the top, there's just weird. It's just weird. Oh, man. But shout out to Melinda, man. That was a awesome performance. Just happy to see him in the UFC after watching him in Bellator and in the LFA for the short time he was there.
Bellator, they had something in him. He's long, he's rangy, he's a pretty good kicker. Like, don't just feed them to Brendan Ward.
Bellator going Bellator.
I don't know, maybe they couldn't get into an exclusive contract and they just wanted to make their guys look good.
But either way, he's here now. He's putting on good performances. So shout outs to him and shout out to Max Griffin, man. Just insanely tough dude, gutting out those knees. So moving on to the Fight Pass prelims, there were only 2 fights of. It's crazy that this fight was on a prelim because this easily could have been.
Fight could have been on the card over Gokhan Saki.
Yeah. Yeah, this was crazy. Dan Hooker and Gilbert Burns.
What a time to be from Australia/New Zealand. Like, you got all these talented dudes just coming out the woodwork,
showing out, like really showing out. I'll say for Burns, man, just off top, even though he lost, really great performance both. But Viking has gotten so much better since he's gotten into the UFC. He caught Hooker with I think it was a right that kind of backed him up a little bit in the beginning. I mean, he was firing off leg kicks. He was working for the first about 30, 45 seconds, maybe to a minute. But Hooker just needed to get comfy. Just needed to find that one opportunity. That finishing sequence was pretty nasty. He caught him with a left to the body, and then he doubled up and took that left up top.
You don't see that enough in MMA, man. That one side body head combo.
It was nasty. It was nasty, and he flopped after that left, boy. He knew he was out.
Dude, right before that sequence, he dropped Burns with. I'm trying to remember.
It was like a half jab.
It was a cross, but it was like the Floyd Mayweather cross where he's already turned his hips, so he's not throwing with full power, but he's going to catch it with speed. Like, because he could just flick the hand out and catch you.
Yeah.
And he baited Burns to throw the overhand right, and literally right as he goes to do the windup, he catches him with the right hand and just drops him.
In real time, I didn't even realize what happened because it happened so.
Like,
it was like one of those anime punches. Like it just happened so fast. I didn't realize what he even caught him with.
It was like the Arlovsky Bonsanella knockout.
Yeah, it was. Hooker, man.
He was operating, man. 4 wins in a row, all by stoppage, quality opponents.
And he told y'all on the post-fight, man, put that respect on his name.
Yeah.
He's out here. Told y'all he gonna pull up on one of y'all lightweights in the parking lot. It's not gonna be pretty.
Shouts to Joey because he suggested Ante Pettis versus Dan Hooker, and I'm 100% for that fight.
Yeah, I mean, why not? At this point, yeah, man.
Lightweight is so much better than all these divisions. The depth and just like the variety of fighter, just the pure chaos of it all. Like, it's just breathtaking.
It's crazy to think, because I don't remember who I was talking with this about, but somebody had brought up like Jens Pulver's name, and I just took a trip back in time. It's crazy how like way back then, like these weight classes did not get like any kind of attention. I ain't gonna say any kind of attention, but like at one point there was no lightweight division. Like
at one point there was a lightweight
lightweight
division, and they got rid of it.
Right, and they scrapped it. Like, and now it's literally, and it's not even just the UFC. This is pretty much across all major organizations. Like, lightweight is king. Like, this is where all of the best talent lies. Like, across every single promotion.
This is the backbone of the UFC.
Yeah, like these are your most talented, most exciting, like, fighters, from the guy at the top all the way to like number like 200. Like, everybody's just really good. It's insane. But yeah, this is an awesome performance, really, from both fighters. Just unfortunate for Burns. Like, he started out really good, but you know, Dan Hooker,
Dude, it's just,
he's
gonna time now, man.
Yeah, he's out here. This was his time to shine, and he did it.
If you want proof that,
yeah.
like, you know, cutting weight just ain't worth it, or cutting a lot of weight just ain't worth it, Dan Hooker, like,
yeah,
he was fun at 145. Like, he always looked like he was going to get pushed around because he's just not that physically strong a dude. He just stops cutting weight, and all of a sudden he's a killer.
right.
Like,
same for what was the other
Cormier?
dude? No, was it Matthews? Jake
Yeah.
Matthews, who was cutting to 55 when he had no business being at 55. Now he's at 170. He's
he looks
handling
like a
business.
middleweight.
Like, right. So, yeah, man. Like, I hope, and maybe we're on that trajectory, because I think more people are waking up to it. It's slowly, that like the weight cut just isn't. It's not
worth
it, man.
putting
like,
your whole camp on making weight instead of getting better.
Right. And like, now we've seen it with guys like Hooker. It was super evident with Poirier. Like, it's day and night between him at featherweight and him at lightweight.
Rumble,
Like,
DC,
right. Like, there's so many examples now. Like, just cutting with the weight is not worth it, man. Like, just fight at your natural weight class. Your talent, your talent and your skill set, if it's good enough, it's gonna get you where you want to go. I think the only people who I kind of feel bad for, and I think I talked to this with another friend of mine, I feel bad for kind of guys like Adesanya, who, like, I can't envision him going up or going down, because he's way too small to go to light heavyweight, and I don't even know what he has to cut to drop to 170 if he would ever try. So he's
like, there are dudes like that. Like, they're stuck in that weird, like, John Makdessi's a dude who I thought if he came out like 5 years earlier, he probably would have been a featherweight, or 5 years later, I should say, he probably would have been a featherweight, and probably would have had he probably would have been a top 10 fighter there, like, in my eyes. But, like, he's just too small for lightweight. So Anthony Njoku, you can just kick him from halfway across the cage, and there's nothing he can do about it. Like, there are those guys, but, like, they are so few and far between. Is just unfortunate.
Yeah. So, fight in your weight class, man. It'll. I don't, I ain't a fighter, so I don't know what it's like to really cut weight. I mean, I try to lose weight, but that's a different story. But, clearly the results are showing, if you just fight at your natural weight class, man, if you're talented, you'll be good, man. You'll be just fine. So, shout out to Dan Hooker, and Gilbert Burns. I'm still looking forward to seeing him again, but Hooker's here, man. He's here. So I'm looking forward if they give him a big name. No, not even a big name. Just give him a top 10, and let's see what he can do. And the last fight, which I feel bad for, because as always with the last fight, this is when my memory fatigue kicks in. Emily Whitmire and Jamie Moyle. I don't remember a ton of this fight, much at all, to be honest. There was a brief moment I remember of Moyle being on top and landing ground and pound or something like that, but I don't remember this fight in a ton of detail.
So I was at like 3 minutes before the fight started. I decided I wanted pizza, so I walked to the pizzeria, I was watching this fight on my phone. I can't remember any of it. Well, that's
Yeah,
unfair.
I
I
can't even.
remember Whitmire giving Moyle trouble with the jab, just like constantly pumping it in her face. And then Moyle decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just follow her jab back and just throw like 30 punches. And I remember that. I don't remember what happened after that. But I do remember Emily Whitmire's post-fight interview, which
Oh yeah.
was a plus performance, where she calls Vinny Magalhaes a piece of shit because according to her, Vinny told her that he would not train Jamie Moyle because apparently her and Vinny were like close or friends or something. And then she told him to go fuck himself after the fight because he was in Moyle's corner. So A plus performance from Whitmire. Hope she gets a title shot off it.
These cornermen ain't loyal. Oh man, yeah, that was one of the best post fight call outs I've seen in a long time. Like, yeah, she she put him on Front Street, just that bold with it too. Like she had her chest out when she
They'll
said
call her
that, man.
Spitfire Whitmire for nothing, man.
But yeah, man. Shout outs to Whitmire. I'm just gonna assume it was a solid performance because I honestly don't remember it. But the post fight interview was A plus.
Get her on the commentary desk.
You're right. she out
Just
here.
air out everybody's dirty business.
So shout outs to Emily Whitmire. Got a unanimous decision. So yeah, man, that was UFC 226. This card was awesome for me. Like I said, I was excited. Aside from the Lewis and Ngannou debacle, all of these fights were pretty fun. Really good matchmaking from top to bottom. The card was well paced. I didn't feel like it was dragging along or I was getting tired of watching it. And then for it to end the way it did with the Cormier knockout was just bananas. Like it was just crazy. So yeah, man, UFC 126 was just awesome. Just really, really awesome. So yeah, covered a lot, man. That was like, yeah. So we covered 226, Bellator, Tough 27. Anything else we missing before we wrap up? Any other cards or anything else that went down?
Not that I can think of that people would probably be interested in. Suicidal and Lenny Z fight. See that one? The match?
No, I did not.
It was amazing. Lenny Z might be the toughest motherfucker walking the earth because he got his ass kicked. He just kept coming back. Like, full on, blood mask and everything. If you didn't catch the fight live, go catch it, like on Daily Motion or YouTube or wherever the hell you can find it. It might be on ESPN Plus if you got that. It's a great fight. But other than that, I got nothing.
Yeah. So I guess we will just. Oh no, sorry. Before we get to parting shot and shout outs, we do have questions. Which my trying to get my Tumblr page to load.
I don't.
All right, hold up. I got the wheel spinning right now. We're getting there. But shout outs to you guys who did send in questions. I always try to make a post before, like an hour or so before we start recording, so you guys can send in questions. But as always, I mean, if you have them just on the whim, you can send them to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com, or if you just see me out and about in the Twitter streets, just hit me up if you got a question, and just let me know it's for the show, and I'll just save your question for the show.
It's like worse than like the hood. It's like I can't imagine anything being more terrible.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it'd be different. It wouldn't be like violent, but it would just be like gangs of people
Screaming
just
at each other.
yeah. Like, it's the biggest argument on earth, but it's literally following you everywhere you go. My God, my laptop hates me. This Tumblr page
I
will
got
not
you.
load.
All right,
Okay.
so we got 2 from Tumblr, or well, 3 technically. One from Mini Adventure Pal. You got a podcast? Yes.
Question mark. Yes, we do.
Yes. You're listening to it right now, hopefully. I hope you're
Hopefully.
enjoying. Second question. Also, when will throws from the clinch get cool again? I answered this question on Tumblr, but I think I answer with you guys. And throws from the clinch will get cool again when John Jones puts the needle down.
I don't even have a follow up for that. Yeah, I think the closest thing we can get now from throws. I mean, we get trips every now and again, but
Maybe Kayla Harrison.
yeah, she does. Yeah, if you guys haven't watched, I checked her fight out in PFL finally.
Well, no,
Yeah, she definitely.
she has the potential to throw anybody. So, if you want to see, if you want to see Kayla Harrison, like, bitch toss some soccer moms. That's coming to you real soon.
Yeah, she's somebody to keep an eye out on. So they'll become cool again, man. We gotta.
This is cyclical.
Yeah, if we're patient enough, so somebody will bring them back. But yeah, shout outs to Mini Adventure Pal. All right, there we go. I finally got the page to load. All right, I got it to load, but it's a different question if it will let me scroll up so I can actually. Oh, all right, there we go. All right. So the champagne nigga. He has like 4 questions or something like that. All right, so we'll just start from the top. All right, so first question. With that pitiful, start that over. With that pitiful performance, and I love that guy, but damn, what do you think should be Ngannou's next fight?
Or the loser of JDS Bogoivanov.
Yeah, I like, as much as I don't want to see Struve get killed. I would say Struve. I like the Struve fight because Struve will kick. Hopefully it would be a lot more active than him and Lewis was. It's a fight that would be somewhat competitive. Like Struve will at least have some kind of offense.
Against the better judgment of like Struve's body, that man does not have like any type of fear. So
right. so he's got that going for him. And it's a fight that, like, for all intents and purposes, like, Ngannou should win that fight. So it's like, it's the perfect rebound. Like, you'll get to see where his head is at. It's somebody who will at least put up an offense, but somebody who Ngannou should beat. And if he doesn't win that fight, then that's
then we're in like Sakaju territory. Sokaju.
Yeah. And we don't want to go there. But so yeah, I like the Struve fight. His next question is Khalil Roundtree ready for the top of the division?
No.
At 205, I don't know who's ready for what. Like I don't know. Is the top of the division ready for the top of the division? I don't know who's ready for what.
Like, if we're just going based on like who's in the UFC, maybe. Like if we're including like Phil Davis and like Ryan Bader, probably not.
Yeah.
Like I could see dude just melting like Glover Teixeira. You know what I mean? I could also see Glover Teixeira just taking him down with no issue and submitting him in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, 205 is it's really weird. I guess I would probably say no. I don't think he's ready for the top yet. But at the same time, it's like,
be ready, to be honest.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys. He might just knock a few people out and find his way there. But yeah, as soon as he run into somebody who's just just well-rounded, even in the most basic of ways. As long as they can avoid not getting their head taken off, there's not much else I think he'll be able to offer to anybody. Like, because his gas tank isn't the best. And like I said, outside of striking, I don't think you really have a ton to worry about. So like I said, against a guy like Glover, if they can manage not to get cracked, even against a guy like OSP, even dudes like what's my man's name? Jan Blachowicz, however you say his last name. Yeah, I don't know if he's ready for the top. Like I don't think he'll make it there. But then again, 205 is 205. Three knockouts from now, he might he might be like number 7 in the world. Who knows?
By the day.
Right. So he could realistically find himself up there, but I don't think he's ready. But 205 going to 205. Who knows?
Eventually this division may only have like 12 people in it.
Right.
So you never know.
And I think his last question, Platinum's win was a nice one for him, but it seems to me like it was just too big for Felder. Next in line, Yancy Medeiros, once he gets healthy or what? Sure, why not?
I like the fight. I want Perry to fight somebody come off a win. Like, Medeiros just got knocked out for the first time in his career after, like, how many wars in a row? Like, there was the Oliveira fight. Yeah.
He's been into some. What about trying to think. No, Perry fought. Did Perry fight Joe Bond? He fought Joe Bond already, right?
Bond beat him, I think.
What about Perry Melinda?
Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah, fuck yeah.
I say that. Yeah.
Perfect
Perry
fight.
Melinda. Let's do it. Let's do it. Like
with Perry's like pace and pressure. Can Melinda deal with Perry's raw aggression? Can Perry deal with the face like 20 times in a row?
Right.
It's perfect.
So yeah. He has some options, I think, at welterweight. A few people, but yeah, I like the Melinda fight. I think that's a good stylistic matchup, and I think that fight ends in pretty violent fashion. Somebody's going to sleep, or at least getting rocked pretty hard. So yeah, I will go with that. I think those are all of the questions.
No.
Oh,
We got one.
there's more. Oh, well, see, my screen froze, so I can't. I can't see.
Don't know if I missed the ball, but I like to hear who surprised you the most from both a negative and positive standpoint this weekend. Negatively, I mean, I'm going to say Ngannou. Like,
I think.
I expect him to perform like a similar style performance out there, Kuz, because like he's not the dude to set the pace. He's the reaction dude. Like, we didn't even get a jab out of Ngannou. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. I think that's consensus. Like, this fight going in, like, I just had so many questions. Like, all right, how's he going to rebound? How's he going to look? And then, like, I see him at the weigh-ins. He's looking real slim, or looking a little bit leaner. I'm like, okay, so he's obviously taking heed to, I'm pretty sure what a lot of people told him. You can't walk around with all this tons of muscle and expect to go a hard 3 rounds or 5 rounds without gassing out. So, but yeah, just this is not the rebound performance. This wasn't even a performance. He just showed up. Like he didn't perform. He didn't do anything. Like, yeah, that's definitely the most disappointing by far. Most impressive.
Surprisingly impressive.
Well, surprisingly.
Was it? Yeah, surprised.
Most surprisingly, I want to say Adesanya, but I don't know if I was surprised, really. I was just, I wasn't sure if he would pull it off, but I can't say I was shocked that he did, even though I didn't think it would be that one-sided. I don't know, I feel like I give this to a couple people. Like, it's hard. A lot of people really showed out this weekend. Like, it's kind of hard. Like, I guess I would say Adesanya because I wasn't sure if this was too big of a step up. And even though I could picture him winning that fight, I didn't think it would be that one-sided. Like Tavares didn't really honestly have like much of a chance. Like he got abused pretty bad. Um, I can't say Dan Hooker. His was that was just a lot of people. There's so many people showed out. I guess if I had to pick one, you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say Mike Perry because our biggest criticisms of Perry, I think, on this podcast has been like for all the talent and power that he has, he's super reckless. And it's just like you have to know that that style is not going to. Sure, it'll keep you in fun fights, and the organization will probably keep you around for a while just because they know what kind of violence you'll bring. But bro, you're not gonna make it to any title fights like doing like that, like because your record won't be consistent enough because eventually you'll just be too reckless and somebody's just gonna catch you eventually. So I'll say Perry. Like I didn't think he was gonna be so. I knew that fight would be violent, but I thought it would be way more reckless than it was. But Perry was a lot more contained than I thought he would be. He really followed his game plan. He really stuck to it the whole time. He never really deviated away from the game plan. Like even when he would get hit or get caught with something, he never went into like that berserker mode that we've seen him do in all of his other fights. So I'll say Mike Perry for making adjustments that I didn't think he would make so soon, and they were like very apparent. So I'll say Mike Perry.
Since you took Perry, like I want to say DC, but like I feel like we knew DC can crack. We've seen it before. And like I think when this fight was made, we were both like, yeah, no, DC's gonna win. So I'm not gonna. You, like I said, I'm surprised by the round three performance, but I'm not. So like I go down the list and like Jakar Close, like I'm not surprised he won, like because we've been saying Venata's a really flawed dude, and honestly, we saw him do this to somebody else who is kind of like Venata, and Mark Diakese. Oh, like him take a decision over a dude. Basically, is like it's very similar to Venata. Guys that Adesanya won. Uh, this is tough. So it comes down to two people for me. It's because like I didn't think he had it in him to hurt somebody anymore. All his athleticism had left him, and like a former self. Like that second round came around, and he looked like the Anti-Pez Road who could march you down and not like hurt you. So like him and someone we didn't get to talk about, so the Jericho. Did you catch that fight at all?
Nah, I gotta go back and check that one out.
Julian Marquez, it was a really good fight. It didn't win fight of the night because I think Marquez missed weight. Yeah, Marquez missed weight. He came out like 189 or something. It weighed down 190. God damn.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, Marquez. I'm surprised because the style that Marquez fights in is kind of a cheat code. Like one thing about MMA fighters, they suck at handling pressure fighters. Like if you are a pressure fighter with a good chin, odds are and you're fighting like low level competition. Odds are you're gonna win. because like just dudes are not like most of the dudes who take up MMA like they come from like backgrounds where like you don't deal with pressure fighters and like the Jericho for me this is like when Alan Joban beat um Mike Perry. Like it was just a really smart, really tactical, really thorough performance on Jericho's part, where he used his kicks and he was able to throw off Marquez, get him to stop throwing at him long enough for him to get his offense off and get some takedowns in there. I know some people had Marquez win the fight, but I thought Jericho had done enough to win 2 rounds. And for me, like the difference between that Joban fight and this fight is that I thought like we knew Joban was capable of putting that type of performance together. I didn't think that Jericho had that type of like game in him where he could just like out kickbox the dude who's going to pressure him and who throws hella hard and he like can finish him anywhere. So I'm gonna go with Lesser the Jericho because like that's surprising to me. It separates him from the other middle of the road middleweights.
I have to go back and give that a look. Yeah, I would have watched it. It was on too late. I went to sleep.
I think that was the
Got
last
old and
fight I
went to
saw
sleep.
before I was like, I gotta go work tomorrow.
Yeah, I have to make those little decisions. But yeah, so shout outs to everybody, man, who's sending questions. Really appreciate it. Like I said, as always, man, if you got questions, whether you comment on the post or on Twitter or at any time, you can send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com, and we'll just answer them on the show. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. So we can go to parting shots and shout outs. Um, I will give a shout out to Ong Lasong and Ken, is it Hasagawa? These two gentlemen fought at one championship maybe about a week or so ago. Well, actually, no, it might have been more than that. Either who, these two gentlemen fought at one championship for the middleweight title. It was probably one of the best fights this year. Just really just 5 round just slugfest. Hasagawa has a chin that's out of this world. I don't know how he ate so many of those shots that he did, but dude, those two just threw down, man, for 5 rounds. It was really awesome. And then the finish, man, Ong Lasong catches him with pretty much a walk off uppercut. Just perfect way to end the fight. It was really crazy. Probably one championship's best fights ever. So if you did not get a chance to catch that, Ong Lasong and Ken Hasagawa, give that fight a look, man. That fight was really, really awesome. So just shout outs to one championship and shout outs to those gentlemen. Shout outs. Do I want to shout out the World Cup? Yeah, I'm going to shout out the World Cup because I got my feelings hurt when Mexico lost to Brazil and then Brazil lost to Belgium. So, there you go. Shout outs to Belgium. And I don't think I got have any shots. I feel like every week I think I have a shot. Somebody pisses me off, and then I forget about why they got me angry. So I just let them live because I can't remember. So yeah, I'm cool. I don't have any other shots.
It's got 2 shout-outs. I might have shouted them out last time, or we might have talked about it last time. I can't remember 2 weeks ago. I can't remember yesterday. Shouts to Johnny Hendricks and Rashad Evans, UFC champions who are calling it quits. I don't believe for a second that neither one will be back, but I feel like they should be gone for like a year or two or whatever, at the least. And they both been doing this for a minute, and I know how hard it is to leave something you've done for so long, just because you just can't eat anymore. case it was because it was a lot of self-infliction. Like, you've been cutting weight in this shitty manner for like 13 years. Like, you should have picked up that you should have been eating clean and doing your dieting and stuff like that. But as well as and for Evans, like Joey pointed this out to me, like before that knee injury after he beat Sonnen, like Evans looked fine. Like he looked like a competent like heavyweight. But once he came back, like he looked done. Like, he just looked completely spent. Like there was a 2-year break after he beat Sonnen, and when he came back, he lost to Bader, he lost to Teixeira, then Kelly, then Elvie and Smith. Like he got progressively worse after that. So, like that sucks because in the light heavyweight division of 2014, he could have fought for the title realistically.
Right. And it sucks to see him walk away because like he was just one of those guys that when I really started getting into MMA, like that was the era that was kind of like the start for me. So it's almost like the same in like basketball when I see dudes like like when Tim Duncan went out the door, like these are slowly the last of an era that like these were the guys I grew up watching, and now they're slowly fading away, man. They're slowly one by one. Shogun's still around here somehow, but like all those guys, man, they're slowly their era's done. It's but I hope he I think he would still do good as like an analyst. He can still be around the sport. I'm pretty sure he has plenty of knowledge to pass on to other fighters. And such. So
career, basically.
yeah, he'll be fine. But yeah, that does suck. Like you've been fighting your whole life at a high level, and now it's just you can't do it anymore. Or do we think does he get one of those Bellator calls, or do we think he's really done?
He's done. I don't think he's done with his UFC contract. Like I think once you retire, they can freeze your contract. So he would have to go to the UFC and ask to be released. And I'm not sure they would do that. I'm not sure he's not like Musashi or Rory Mack. He has a gig with the UFC. Well, actually, he might not have one moving forward because they're moving to ESPN. And God knows what happens to the desk after that.
But best of luck to him, though, man. Best of luck, man. He definitely a legend in the sport. One of the back when 205 was the division, if you can believe it or not. Like he was one of those guys, man. He was one of those guys. So yeah, shout outs to him. I do have actually one last shout out because I finally got my computer to stop hating me. I forgot to mention the top cities, and the reason I have to give a shout out is because we have a return to number one, Cairo, Egypt. Cairo, Egypt, back at number one. Number 2 city was Reading, Pennsylvania. Number 3 was Istanbul, Turkey. Number 4 was Salisbury, India, and number 5 was Lagos, Nigeria.
Pennsylvania? See, I always wanted to go to Reading because they had the pagoda there. I always wanted to visit that.
Well, or is it Reading, Pennsylvania? My bad. It's Reading, Pennsylvania. Well, I don't know how y'all guys say it. I'm not from there. But it's spelled like Reading.
It says Reading. I say Reading.
And then we also had at number 6, Johannesburg, South Africa. So, shout outs to the foreign listeners, everybody out there. Egypt, y'all better stay around, man. Don't give me this number 1 spot and then next week you're just not here.
Did I apologize to Egypt on the last podcast? I said something about them.
I haven't. I don't know. I don't know if apologize is the word.
Well, okay.
I don't know if we apologized. But if we didn't,
like feeder country.
Yeah. If we didn't, sincerest Apologies to Egypt. We hope you guys stick around. But yeah, man, this has been another episode of the Dojo Talk podcast. As always, you can listen to this podcast on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play. You can hit me up on Twitter at Serial Sensei. Send questions to Dojotalkpodcast at yahoo.com. Yeah, it's been another episode of the Dojo Talk podcast. As always, when people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And we will catch you guys next time. Peace.